What are you laughing at, man?
At the title of this video and at the thumbnail of it.
You said it. That was you. That was everything. There was you.
I suggested it yesterday, and I was joking about it, and we were laughing about it, and then you actually.
Oh, I didn't know you're joking, dude. Oh, guys, yeah, guys. So after we finished the show yesterday, I was like, "Look, man, what are we gonna do, man? We could cover the Tucker Carlson and Pierce Morgan discussion." Because Tucker's saying, I feel closer to the Pakistanis than I do to Westerners, something like that. I haven't seen it. I just saw people tweeting that, so I was going to watch it, and then we go through that. Or we can review one of the debates, and then AP's like, why don't you talk about the DC shooter and how there was naked pictures of him and he has no PP. And then he said. And then he says, and you could call it what everyone missed about the DC shooter or something like that. And,
Yeah.
Apparently he was joking, and I went ahead and set it up anyway. And he just saw it right before he went live. He saw the picture.
Anyway. It is a good idea, though. So yeah.
Oh, that's good because
It's a fantastic idea.
It is. It's a very based idea, ladies and gentlemen. Can't believe you messed up my TikTok time to rock.
TikTok time to rock.
Oh, so what's going on? Saw you had a new song, man. Saw you had a new song out.
Oh yeah, I haven't even checked on it yet. It was just a crazy day. I woke up very early in the morning and have been running around and setting things up and moving things around and doing all that kind of stuff. It's like I hurt myself in the process. So I literally just came and sat down for the first time during this entire day, and now I'm supposed to go live with you. I need to complain to the management about this.
Yeah, seriously. All right, just send out the link here. Okay. Now it's out there. What everyone missed about the DC shooter. We missed his PP. What's going on? Why is this? What sort of weirdness is this?
What's going on here, man? Anyway, let's yes.
Oh, so beyond the bare minimum of reading some tweets and stuff, I hadn't paid much attention to it. And then when I saw it, they were saying this guy actually worked for the CIA in Afghanistan, and they're pointing out that this is clearly a CIA attack on the National Guard because the guy worked for the CIA. And
airtight logic right there. Airtight logic.
It is airtight. Oh, we have a theory here.
It's 1.8 inch. How would you come to that conclusion? What gives you that idea?
You know, it would be a weird thing since Andrew Wilson made an airtight case, that Muhammad was 1.8 inches. And guys, you know, it's obviously kind of a joke, but it's not a joke in the sense that if what Muslims are saying is correct, if you take their claims seriously, what?
Oh, how is it a joke? I thought it was serious.
It's serious if you take what they say seriously. We normally don't take what they say seriously. So we wouldn't take it seriously that Muhammad didn't harm Aisha. But if you do, if they are maintaining that, yes, Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old girl and it didn't harm her at all, the rest of this follows because Andrew Wilson in his debate on Muhammad's relationship with Aisha actually had the studies that show a 9-year-old girl's vaginal canal is about 2 inches. And therefore, if Muhammad did not harm her, then do the math here. Do the math. He'd have to be a bit shorter than 2 inches. So this follows directly from what Muslims claim about Muhammad and Aisha. And therefore, it would be a weird thing if guys like this DC shooter were part of some weird Islamic cult where they say, we're not allowed to be, it would be wrong of us to be more manly than Muhammad. Therefore, we must all have 1.8 inches or less PPs.
And he actually cut some of it off to just have a shorter one.
Yeah, you've seen some of these weird groups where they like cut themselves and so on. Who knows what they're doing? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't know. It's anyway.
Yeah.
Stuff. All this weird stuff's possible.
It is entirely possible. It is entirely possible, and there is no reason to deny it at this point. There is certainly no evidence to deny it. I mean, we're just asking questions.
Yeah, and so it's possible. Well, let's say probable. Maybe certain.
Yeah,
maybe certain that this is what's going on with these guys.
Yeah.
All right, so guys, we're going to make sure everyone's. So, the thumbnail was kind of a joke, and the title is related to the thumbnail, what everyone missed. Get it? But there is a very, very, very serious point here that everyone's missing. Now, maybe some of you, because we've talked about these attacks in the past, maybe some of you are not missing it, but I haven't seen anyone who is getting the glaringly obvious, massive, massive problem here. I hope someone did. I hope I just missed it on Twitter or something like that. I hope people are putting this together, because we got some serious problems on our hands, and everyone's just missing it. And you got the conspiracy guys, and you even got Trump saying, no, he just went crazy, he went cuckoo. That's a possibility. That's a possibility, but there's a much more obvious explanation than any of the explanations I've seen being given right now. We're going to get to that. So we're going to go through, watch a couple of video clips. We'll read one news article. We'll get all the facts down, and then we'll see a problem, because you got way bigger problems than this dude. You caught this dude. He shot 2 people. You got way bigger problems coming up that are in the same sort of family as this. So we're going to check those out. We got Inspiring Philosophy here. So let me take these first couple of super chats, and then we will jump into a couple of video clips here. Oh yeah, we'll start just because I saw it circulating. That even Elon shared the clip of people chanting "Death to America" in Dearborn, and then someone asked Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib if she condemns it, and she wouldn't condemn it, but she's saying it's just because it was Fox News asking her to condemn it. So anyway, we'll check that stuff out. Here we have Inspiring Philosophy. What are you doing? I told you to sever ties with me. IP says they're always late. This wouldn't happen if they would stop being so gay. You see? This is why you got to sever ties with this guy. Speaks in a really, really offensive way. Would Mike Winger be this late? Not to a Star Trek convention. Tell you that much. He'd be there. He's one of those dudes that would like camp out for 3 days so he could be first in there to see Worf or something. Anyway, just saying hi. My IQ still hasn't recovered from the last stream. Ha ha ha. Love you guys, dude. Hey, you know what's funny? Right after we start talking about I'm thinking about trying to make you laugh, but you actually look super cool right now for once in your life. And normally you look like some.
I was playing Frozen. You ruined it, man. Come
on. No, but you actually look legitimately cool. We should start doing. Hey, where's mine? I got some Ray-Bans around here somewhere. Yeah, we'll have to.
do that.
Yeah, we should do that one day and go live in our sunglasses. Now, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Yesterday we were talking about, and we were watching. Was that Junior guy? We were watching like the dumb things he was like so insanely dumb. Like how do you function? How do you put clothes on in the morning if you're this dumb? But yeah. So if you guys missed it yesterday, Junior in his debate with like IP and AP, it was like saying like the dumbest things you've ever heard in your life.
Yes.
IP said that Aisha hadn't reached puberty, and Junior, as his evidence that she had reached puberty, said, well, she was still playing with dolls when she was with Muhammad. And as you know, you're not allowed to play with dolls once you've reached puberty. So, since she was playing with dolls, she must have reached puberty. And IP's like, that would mean that she hadn't reached puberty. If you're only allowed to play with dolls up until you've reached puberty, and she was still playing with dolls when she was with Muhammad, then she hadn't reached puberty. He's like, no, you're not getting this, man. If she was playing with dolls, then she had reached puberty. She must be over 16. It's like, oh my goodness, like what is it? So that's a level of stupidity. But then I've just been seeing it over and over again all day. Like every response to everything I post on X is like, how can you function? How can you do whatever job you do in life if your responses to any objection to Muhammad are this insanely dumb? But anyway, it's everyone's doing their best to make an airtight case for Andrew Wilson's claims about cousin marriage.
Said that it is that he prefers low IQ societies. So it's actually better to be low IQ. So therefore, we have already established this. Junior actually did a good job.
That's what you could say. You could say all these guys are doing a great job of defending Daniel Hikikachu's position that it's better to be low IQ.
Most certainly, yes. Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
So let's see here. Party in the CIA, Weird Al Yankovic. I never heard that one. Not everyone has huge hogs like you. What is this creepy, weird stuff, man?
That is true, yeah.
AP, in the Lily J stream, you said Grifter's Paradise and moved on, like making a song titled that isn't the best idea ever. Nice shades, by the way.
Thank you. That is a good idea. I actually didn't really think that through after I said it. But I already have a parody in mind about that is called Muslim Paradise. So, that is already taken.
Well, that's interesting because someone just mentioned Weird Al, and Weird Al already did a parody of Gangster's Paradise called Amish Paradise, but Grifter's Paradise.
Mine would be better. Mine would be better though. So.
Well, yours would actually have a point to it, right? You could just have all the Dawa people on there, and basically just how they take advantage of the Ummah by saying the dumbest things ever, and people just love it and make them rich and famous. So Grifter's Paradise.
No, mine is Muslim Paradise.
Tell me, why are we so blind to see? AP, in the Lily J stream, you said Grifter's Paradise and moved on, like making a song titled that isn't the best idea ever. Nice shades, by the way. Yes.
I actually revisited my lyrics right now that I had for as I walk through the city on my way to the mosque. I take a look at my beard and realize it's pretty soft. I comb it and groom it and keep it so long that even my cousin thinks I look kind of hot. But I would never waste my time.
I would never waste my time getting married to my cousin.
I need to continue and finish this. This was pretty good.
Oh boy. The Apostate of Allah says, I learned I need to advertise myself more, not in the zut sense. I want to do full-time ministry, so here's my shameless plug, not the old zut kind. 2 al-zut jokes in one super chat, ladies and gentlemen. I took your idea where I clipped Junior calling his wife and posted a video. Awesome. So everyone check out Apostate of Allah's video, maybe this weekend or something like that. We'll pull it out. We'll pull it out. Not in a zut sense, but
Apostate of Allah is based. Her channel is based. I would recommend checking it out. Huh.
Yeah, I like that too. I like that. I like that wanting to go full-time YouTuber. AP plus sunglasses plus not moving equals sleep. No.
Yes.
All right. We already heard from Inspiring Philosophy. Now we hear from Uninspiring Philosophy. AP kind of reminds me of the minimal zut. Talk about that.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
Hey, I told you when I was in Boston at the Apologetics Conference, there were these there were these Indian Christians. There was like 3 or 4 Indian Christians and stuff, and I was talking to them. I was telling them about how we want to make the music video. I want to make the music video to your Zut Zut song, and I'd be up there in a cowboy hat with a band behind me, not in the Zut sense, but I'd be up there in a cowboy hat, and I'll sing the song. And vocab, he's in to be Prophet Muhammad. He's going to be line dancing, but the whole line's going to be behind him, right? The whole line. He's just going to be by himself doing the dance, and all the al-zut are going to be behind him dancing. But I was like, "Hey, you guys want to be in the video?" They're like, "Yes, of course." So, Indians are fine with making fun of Muhammad like that, man. They're like, yeah. they're like, but are we tall enough? Are we tall enough? Because they wanted like tall, strong Al Zut behind him and stuff. And I was like, you can actually do that with. I said you can actually do that with the camera angle. In other words, you can kind of point down at Prophet Muhammad, and the guys behind him would look taller by comparison. They do that with actors, you do that with various actors, like Tom Cruise is actually pretty short for like an action star and stuff like that. So
That's true.
you just fix that with camera angles and stuff.
That's true.
Let's see. Islam is a religion.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, Islam is a religion for alpha males. Only a beta male feels weird about marrying his cousin. Junior, please say you saw this. Did he say that? Only a beta male feels weird about marrying his cousin? No, someone joked. That was a joke, right? I think that was a joke. Someone posted that.
I hope that was a joke.
That sounds familiar.
I hope it was a joke.
I seriously hope it was a joke too.
I hope so.
There are individuals online calling for a crusade after the shooting, ending religious freedom in the U.S. What would you say to them? You guys, you don't need anything like a crusade, okay? So look, you've got people like, hey, we need to go out and kill and slaughter. Okay, if you and your buddies go out and kill and slaughter, what is that going to accomplish? Nothing. You're going to be labeled terrorists, and then everyone's going to use what you did for forever to show how Islamophobia is this real problem, and we need to silence all criticism of Islam. That's what you would accomplish. The only way you could actually be successful in stopping Islam with something like a crusade is if you had just massive support from people across the West and in the government and everything. That's the only way you could do something successful. If you ever got to that point, you don't need to do it because you can crush Islam by mocking it relentlessly. People, no, you can't. No, you can't. Guys, look what happened with just a few people doing it online. You ended up with the avalanche of apostasy. That's what happened when a few people were doing it. And the entire time we were exposing Islam, all the governments, all the media, the entire education system, Hollywood, we're all shouting to people, Islam is the best thing ever. It's the most wonderful and amazing thing ever. What would happen if everyone with like journalists, politicians, educators, everyone started telling the truth about Islam? It would not last 5 minutes, unlike the men of Al Zut, who lasted all night long. But anyway, guys, so yeah, just get your minds around everyone who's like calling for violence. Okay, either you do that as one small group and it does nothing and it has the opposite from your intended effect, or you have such widespread support for some big violent thing that you're ready to go out and march. And if you ever got that massive support for what you want to do, you could crush Islam. You could just crush it as an ideology. It cannot stand up to criticism. It's only still standing at all because everyone props it up and defends it and says you're a racist bigot for criticizing it. Get past that, you win. Get past that and you win. You don't need to slaughter millions of people or anything.
That's true. That's true.
David Wood. Promoted. Here's what's crazy. I criticize Islam because it's the most effective and nonviolent way of dealing with Islam. People, oh, you're such a bigot. I'm the one trying to avoid the bloodbath, guys. D. Wood trying to avoid the bloodbath. How am I the bad guy? The Afghan National Forces and the Taliban were the same thing. Our allies would be the ones shooting at us every other fighting season. Oh yeah, that was a serious problem all the way. And you would have soldiers, Marines and so on, who are aware of it. They're like, we can tell this guy that you're making us work with is going to come in here shooting at some point. He hates us. We know it. Like, no, you can't do it. He's our ally. And then the guy'd come in there and gun down soldiers and stuff like that. And
yeah,
pretty screwed up, messed up situation.
Pretty bad.
Sheikh Dawood and the Turkish agent Smith. Not anymore. The sunglasses are off. Mr. Anderson. D-Wood AP, I heard Muhammad was born without foreskin or something. Maybe he was so small they couldn't tell. What is your hypothesis? Well, that would fit.
In the Zut sense.
Not the way the old Zut fit in Muhammad, but... AP, the final prophet, was fire. I was on the floor, not in the Zut sense. Yeah, that's different. That's different because normally your songs you've got your own beat and your own. But here, this one is just straight up parody.
Straight up
Final Countdown.
Yeah, I found I figured out a good way to make a cover of an actual good song. So I did do that. I had to kind of resample and then AI make the instrumental version of it, and then sing it myself with the shrillest voice I had, and then cover it with the AI and write the lyrics. It was okay. It was okay. It was fun to do, and it turned out quite nicely.
Yeah, how's that working? I'm thinking as far as like not getting not getting any sort of copyright, that you're safer with the AI with your own beats. But parodies are legal. Parodies are legal under fair use. You can make parodies. You can make parodies of songs and even use their beats to make your parodies.
Yeah, right now it's actually let me see the process of it. Right now, it has actually been copyright claimed by the label that has the rights over the final countdown, but
Oh,
it will be resolved eventually. And what probably happens is that either they receive some portion of the monetization, if there is any, or it just all goes to me under fair use because it's parody. So
yeah. You just tell them this parody suckers.
yeah,
I'm not in Turkey anymore. I can do what I
it's
want.
not.
This is the United States.
To be fair, it's not like the band produced any other song that anyone knows about. So
Yeah,
it's the only
that's
song they
true.
got.
One hit wonders. One hit wonders. Hey, don't be hating on AP because 40 years after you come out with your song, he makes it better.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's actually good this time.
yeah. Doesn't suck like it
Yes,
used to. It's got some
yes,
meaning to it.
yes,
The Islamic afterlife seems to be only made for men. What do the women do? They stand in corners waiting for the men to call upon them. Are they the virgins to be deflowered for eternity? I'm being serious. Yes. Well, if Muslim men get their wives from earth in paradise as well. They're still your wives, but you also get all these specially designed eternal sex slaves called houris
yes,
that you're in competition with. So you're basically spending eternity knowing your husband's just banging dozens of virgins over and over and over again. You say, "Oh, but they're not virgin." No, they are. Allah restores their virginity every night after you have sex with them.
yes. So what men get is a bunch of virgins that Allah creates in His laboratory for them, just for
It's
them to have sex.
laboratory. You got to say it like in a mad scientist sense. Laboratory. In a
Laboratory.
laboratory. If you're talking about a scientist, you say laboratory. If you're talking about a mad scientist, you say laboratory.
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 And so they get to have sex with their own wives, four of them, and with all the sex slaves. And what the women get is to just watch it all happen. It's pretty good.
We need to make a video about called Allah's Laboratory, where he's making all these virgins for
With it,
people,
yeah.
and maybe some of the experiments go horribly wrong. Let's see.
If Sneeko was a woman, it would be like the perfect place to go, paradise.
That would. Consider how the believers look down on people they call cow worshippers. Consider further Momo and his quivering, beckoning shame cave, eagerly receiving al zut. Consider yet further how he worshipped their beef. This is tantamount to a conversion to Hinduism. It's especially creepy because that's where they were from, right? They're from
That's
over there
funny.
in India. They're from over there in India. The al zut. So I guess you could call that a conversion. No, guys, he actually said that on X, exact words. Oh, dude, you need to screenshot that, man.
Dude, what the heck, man?
I said he said it on X. we need to screenshot that, man. After being injected with the strength of 30 men, Muhammad became powerful like an Arabian Freddie Mercury. He was the new lead singer for Queen. The strength of 30 men, that's unheard of. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. The strength of 30 men, that's unheard of. Yeah, there you go. That's part of your lyrics right there. You need to jot that down, man.
Alhamdulillah.
Hey, AP and D Wood, will there be Al Zut t-shirts? Yeah, we got to figure out what to put on them. Now, if we sold Islamic merch and we were Muslims, we would cover them in fake stains to be more like Muhammad. But yeah, we'll come up with some sort of Al Zut merch. There is this theory that Hitler had a micro. Yeah, I saw that. No, it's actually like he had a medical disorder. He had some sort of medical condition that they discovered, and it's one of the symptoms of that can be that. So yeah, medical term. The YouTube, of course, won't let me write it right. Maybe it's the same case with Momo. Just saying, possible. That is a condition. Shout out to
I found it. Junior
what?
said Islam is a religion for alpha males. Only a beta male feels weird about marrying his cousin. Gosh.
Send me that link, man. Send me that link. I'm going to screenshot that too. There's certain things that you want to keep for future reference, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Milk Bar TV, who needs our help. Yes, guys. Andrew Tate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Andrew Tate, frivolous lawsuit against Milk Bar TV and a bunch of others who simply, everything he was saying to like Candace Owens and Tucker, when he's, no, that was years ago, they would just take clips of what he was saying to prove he's lying. And Andrew Tate has announced in videos, he says he will do completely frivolous lawsuits that he can't hope to win just to make other people spend money. So he said he'll spend millions. He said something like, I'll spend millions of dollars taking you to court just to make you lose 10,000 because I got it like that and stuff. So he acknowledges that he engages in these frivolous lawsuits just to punish people for crossing him or exposing him and so on. So anyway, Milk Bar and the others have a hearing this coming week. So yep, check out if you want to support that, which you should. It's pretty easy for everyone to chip in for a couple bucks, help cover their legal fees, because you know they want to fight it and they want to make Tate lose on this as he should. Thank you for that super chat. No comment. Could you please do a video on Shepherd's Chapel? Probably not, because I have no idea what that is. Korean on Winston Marshall, super based. What are you talking about? Oh, the Scottish guy.
Wait, he wasn't Winston. Wait, he was there, really? That's interesting.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I saw him because he got detained. It would have been more poetic if Muhammad took his companion called, you're talking about Anas, on the night of Al-Zut, missed opportunity. Yeah, imagine it wasn't Abdullah ibn Masud, it was Anas. You're right. The Zut jokes would have been funnier. Muhammad dropped the ball on that one. He didn't drop other things, but he dropped the ball on that one. Had a thought. Kama al-Zutra. Yeah, I thought of that one too. Kama Zutra. I thought of that one was before Kama Sutra. Yeah, so that's good. I guess great minds think alike. Just to be clear, not making fun of this serious medical condition. Yeah, it is a serious medical condition, but you can make fun of Muhammad for having. How about 1.8 dilemma shirts? T-shirts, yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
It's possible. I'm the imam the little Akis want to be. What does that go with? I'm the imam the little Akis want to be.
That's also from the same song.
Where does it fit in? What are the lyrics?
I'm the kind of something that something want to be. I don't remember. I don't remember when I just hear it in the middle of it.
Yeah, you gotta start at the beginning.
Yeah.
AP, next song should be a parody of the I'll Be Watching You, about the journey of a Muslim man watching his infant cousin growing to marriageable age of 6. I was thinking of as soon as you said it, I'll be watching you. So that's the police. I was thinking of Abdullah ibn Masud watching from behind the Diddy line. But yeah, it would actually be better because it's a stalker song. He's not really stalking. He's just watching. Muhammad wanted him to. He wanted him to cuck over there. But yeah, that's called the stalker song, because it's all about I'll be watching you, whatever you do, anything, it doesn't matter. I'll be watching you. But yeah, that would work well with one of these Dawa guys checking out his cousin. Video offer, Hakikachu saying he prefers low IQ society, then cut out the junior segment, then Hakikachu saying he prefers low IQ society, and repeat. That would work too.
That's good.
Good. These are good ideas.
Somebody should make a video about that.
After the debate, Junior went home and took away her dolls. She was over 16. Wait a minute. Momo could walk along the river and the sea. Momo could walk along the river and the sea. What's that mean, man?
I have no idea.
I don't get it. We don't get it. Sometimes jokes go over our heads.
I don't know.
It's been so long, I don't know what anybody's talking about. I'm so out of touch. You don't know the
Nice.
Zut jokes?
Welcome back.
In Talmud, Midrash Zutta means small or minor. This could be that could be the background story. All right, all right,
That's
man.
funny. All right, man.
Ready to check out some stuff?
All right, y'all.
All right,
Yes.
guys. So first, let's talk. This is it's not related to this story, but again, Elon was sharing this today. Other people were sharing this today, and it's a latest update from Dearborn. If only someone had been there 15, 16 years ago, warning people that things were going very, very, very bad in Dearborn and we're heading in a very dangerous direction. Oh, wait, I did. Told people, told everyone, showed them, locked us up, locked me up, locked Nabil up. Nabil was having a calm, peaceful conversation with some 15, 16-year-old Muslims, and I wasn't saying anything. I was standing there with holding a camera so that no one could say we did something that we didn't do. Police came, locked us up, threw us in jail. That was Dearborn 15 or 16 years ago, and now you've got this. You've got them screaming death to America and so on. Let's check it out.
Hey,
What?
here's my list of parodies that I've written down that I should make. So, WAP, weak ass book. The Sound of Silence, The Sound of Muslims.
Hey, for WAP, I prefer weak ass prophet. It just sounds
Okay,
better.
fine. Then
Oh, that
Dirty.
weak ass prophet.
Dirty would be 30 for sexual strength or the Zoot. Then Sweet Child of Mine, Sweet Bride of Nine.
What's dirty?
It's a song by Christina Aguilera.
Oh, never heard of that.
Then Maria would be Sharia.
No. What was the one before that?
The Sound of Silence, The Sound of Muslims.
No, you said something about a child bride.
Oh,
9?
Sweet Child of Mine would be Sweet Bride of Nine.
You got to do these, man.
I thought about these and wrote them all down. They're just waiting here to be made.
Whoa, sweet bride of nine. Oh, where do we go now? That could be creepy, man. You could like combine it with like the sound of their call to prayer and stuff like this with the when he goes, I.
Yeah. Please don't ever make that song again.
No.
Okay.
All right. So you ready? You ready for this?
Ready.
All right,
Yeah,
guys.
ready.
So you've heard of now you know why AP can never, ever, ever, even once in his life, make a regular video again, because he's got a long list of parody songs to make. Meanwhile, in Dearborn, Michigan, is that the mayor? Is that the mayor there? I think that's the mayor. Let's see.
الموت لأمريكا! الموت لأمريكا! الموت لأمريكا!
Not a great look. The mayor condemned it. The White House condemned it. But what about Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib? She reps Dearborn. Is she okay with her constituents chanting death to America?
So, guys, there's another serious problem. You've got a city of people. If anything ever went real, south, whose side do you think they're on here? I mean, Tommy Robinson would talk about this in Luton and so on when he's growing up. He'd say you'd have Muslims who, you get along with, that you grew up with and stuff like that. As soon as something came down to Muslims versus non-Muslims, they would instantly be on the Muslim side. Didn't matter. You could have known this guy your entire life. He was against you as soon as it became Muslims versus non-Muslims. Anyway, got a city right there. Death to America. But Rashida Tlaib, what?
So that guy standing there is part of an institute that is actually based in Dearborn. It's not based, but it's in Dearborn. And then
You heard it here. Dearborn is based.
Then an imam was also with him. That's what they did. It was a rally for Quds, for Jerusalem, for the Islamic takeover of Jerusalem, and that's what they did. They praised Islamic terrorist organizations and things like that, and shouted death to America after also shouting death to Israel. Of course, here's the thing. So over the last few years, I have kind of, I guess, a little bit moved away from sympathizing with absolute free speech. and I know it's not a popular thing to say, and it was especially not a very popular thing to say several years back. And I know that free speech is a very fundamental American value. Actually, not from the beginning, but from later on. But still, I think that if people who live inside the U.S. say something like "death to America," I think the government should take any step to simply kick them out and never let them back in.
Very rude. As far as
AP's,
as far as your concerns about freedom of speech and your Turkish-like hatred of freedom of speech, just have to point out again, everyone, the founding fathers said this. They said if you do not handle your freedoms responsibly and maintaining virtue, the system will not work. The system will break down. The system will break down. Everyone will be fighting each other. It will break down, and a tyrant will take over, and then you will not have freedom of speech. So it's not going to, it doesn't last. If you don't handle your freedoms responsibly, you lose them. That's just how it works. Let's see.
Fox Business correspondent Hillary Vaughn asked her. Watch.
Congresswoman Tlaib.
Fox News. I don't talk to Fox News.
At a rally in your district, people were chanting "Death to America." Do you condemn?
I do not talk to Fox News.
But do you condemn chants of "Death to America"?
I don't talk to people that use racist tropes.
Why can't you just say whether or not you condemn people chanting "Death to America"? Why are you afraid to talk to Fox?
Fox News is not listen, using race.
You know what's crazy? I would actually respect Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib right here if she just started screaming "Death to America," because it'd be like, we know that's what you believe. We know that, right? We know that. I mean, you specifically, you have all sorts of Muslims who just, you know, want the best for America and so on. But her, yeah, we know where she stands. So would actually respect the honesty more.
Racist tropes towards my community is what Fox News is about, and I don't talk to Fox News.
Is "Death to America" racist?
Fox News.
Is chanting "Death to America" racist?
I'm talking about your guys' racist tropes. You know, you guys know exactly what you do. And I know you're Islamophobic, but you guys got to go deal with it on your own self. You're not going to use me.
Listen to this. Listen to this. She says, I don't talk to Fox News. That's her excuse, right? And then she goes on to talk multiple sentences to them about how they're racist, about how they're bad, and this and this and that, while she cannot be bothered to simply, for a second, say that she condemns that chant. So obviously she does want to talk about it when she has something to say, but she obviously doesn't have something to say about this phrase "Death to America." That's it. She's more concerned about the fake thing called Islamophobia, which is no thing, and it probably should be under the circumstances.
And I mean, at this point, she no longer needs to ever respond to any criticism, right? Because, I mean,
Yep.
She's the congresswoman from Michigan. That's Dearborn. That's Dearborn. Those are her people. They're shouting "Death to America." Hey, do you condemn that? Well, imagine, you know, you had a bunch of
Racist.
Yeah, what if you have these guys calling for terrorist attacks and stuff like that? Hey, do you condemn it? Nope.
Racist!
Nope, because that's a racist trope against Muslims. This is Islamophobia. So it's basically they can do anything they want. She wouldn't have to condemn it because she can say, nope, this is just you guys being Islamophobes. Great. It's awesome. Awesome little method there. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome.
Racist. Islamophobe. Racist.
Islamophobia is a powerful tool, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and glance at this article here. We'll glance at this, not like the El Zut glanced at Muhammad, but check this out. All right, this is from ABC News. 2 National Guardsmen were ambushed Wednesday in the nation's capital in what officials are calling a targeted shooting. The suspected gunman has been identified by law enforcement as 29-year-old. Have you heard this pronounced? Rahmanullah Lakhanwal. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. We'll hear it. We'll hear it in a clip. Rahmanullah Lakhanwal. He will be charged with 3 counts of assault with the intent to kill while armed and criminal possession of a weapon, officials said during a press conference on Thursday. You picked the wrong target, the wrong city, and the wrong country, and you will be sorry for the violence and the evil you perpetrated in our nation's capital. Janine Pirro, U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, told reporters Thursday. Go and see this. So that's this awesome, super nice guy. And let's see. After the president, Donald Trump announced the death of one of the guardsmen injured in the shooting, Pirro said Friday the suspect's charges would be upgraded to first-degree murder. It is unclear when those charges will be unsealed. There are certainly many more charges to come, but we are upgrading the initial charges of assault to murder in the first degree, Pirro said on Fox and Friends on Friday. Let's see. Lockenwall is believed to be from Afghanistan and came to the United States in 2021 under the Biden administration. You see, law enforcement sources said he applied for asylum in 2024 and was granted asylum in April. You see, under the Trump administration, multiple administrations working together because this guy works for the CIA. The suspect, who has a wife, 5 children, and a brother in the U.S., allegedly had been unable to find a job because he had an expired work permit, according to a source familiar with the suspect's circumstance.
Wait, a wife, 5 children, and the brother. Is the brother also one of the children? Oh.
Well, let's see. So his wife is most likely his first cousin.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't even know. We don't even know. Allegedly had been unable to find a job because he had an expired work permit, according to a source familiar with the suspect's circumstance. Lockenwall, who had become more isolated the past few months and was growing desperate, could not pay rent or food, and was relying on others, the source added. When asked Thursday about when the suspect, by the way, guys, this is all part of understanding something. When asked Thursday about when the suspect was granted asylum, FBI Director Kash Patel did not answer, instead referring to a statement from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. He was likely vetted before being granted asylum this year. According to Noem, there have been 8,000 such individuals since Trump took office. Noem and Patel have both suggested in recent congressional testimony that the administration had carefully scrutinized all of them. Well, that's good to know. Did a good job right there. During my tenure, we are going through the databases to make sure that no known or suspected terrorists enter this country to harm our nation. Wow, you guys are doing a bang-up job, Patel told the Senate Judiciary Committee in September. Here we get to the good stuff. Gunman previously worked for the CIA, hence the conspiracies. The suspect previously worked with the U.S. government, including the CIA, as a member of a partner force in Kandahar, which ended in 2021 following the withdrawal from Afghanistan, according to CIA Director John Ratcliffe. I guess that's the scene. Streets are blocked after reports that 2 National Guard soldiers were shot near the White House. The individual and so many others should have never been allowed to come here, Ratcliffe said. In Afghanistan, the suspect was involved with the Zero Unit. I mean, they kind of sound like losers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think you got like Delta Force and stuff like that. And hey, we're the Zeros. Powerful. The suspect was involved with the Zero Unit, also known as the Zut Unit, working closely with the CIA and the Joint Special Operations Command, according to sources familiar with the investigation. The suspect was a trusted member of that team, which went after U.S. counterterrorism targets, according to sources. Guys, it's very important to pay attention to what's going on here. So this guy worked for the U.S., helping take out targets. So who would this have been? This would have been taking out Taliban, jihadis, and so on. Sources said the FBI is currently investigating the shooting as a potential act of international terrorism, suggesting authorities are trying to determine if it may have been inspired by an international terrorist organization. So they're wondering if someone's calling the shots on this, for this dude, right? Like this guy was undercover for some organization working with the CIA But he's really working for someone else, or he joined some other group since then. And, some jihadi group said, all right, go take out some National Guardsmen or something like that. Patel said officials are looking into whether the suspect had any associates overseas, drove across the country. Wow. Officials said the suspect has a wife and 5 children. He drove from his residence in Washington state to the nation's capital prior to the shooting and targeted the guardsmen, officials said. Somebody drove across the country to Washington, D.C. to attack America, said D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser. A search warrant, Bowser from Mario Brothers? A search warrant was conducted at the suspect's home in Bellingham, Washington, where officials found numerous electronic devices. Patel added that this is a coast-to-coast investigation. Officials are interviewing individuals at the suspect's home and in San Diego, where the alleged shooter has ties. In addition to his wife and children, sources familiar with the investigation said the suspect has a brother in the United States. All right, let's see what happened. Guardsmen were ambushed by the suspect. Pirro said the gunman, who opened fire without provocation, ambush style, struck one of the victims, leaned over and shot the individual again. The suspect then shot the other guard member several times. The weapon used in the shooting was a .357 Smith & Wesson revolver, officials said. The suspect allegedly got shot by a third member of the National Guard and then was subdued, but officials did not say how many shots were fired at or by the suspect. There we've got everyone there. In an address on Wednesday night, Trump confirmed that the suspected gunman is believed to have entered the U.S. from Afghanistan. It was a crime. Was this Trump? It was a crime. It was a crime against our entire nation. It was a crime against humanity. Trump said the shooting underscores the single greatest national security threat facing our nations, the biggest, and the U.S. must now re-examine every single alien from Afghanistan who has entered our country under Biden and who must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here or add benefit to our country. There you have it. President. Anything else? The Guard members, 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom and 24-year-old Andrew Wolf, were conducting high-visibility patrols at the time of the attack, according to law enforcement officials. On Thursday, Trump announced Beckstrom, an Army specialist, had died. Wolf, a U.S. Air Force staff sergeant, remains in critical condition.
May God protect him.
The condition of the suspect has not been released. He looked fine. I mean, apart from having no pee-pee, he looked fine in the pictures. So Pirro said that the suspect's charges could change depending on the conditions of the victims. If the 2 Guards members do not survive, Pirro said the suspect will be charged with first-degree murder. They already said that. Got to update these things better. Motive has not been immediately... There you go. A motive has not immediately been determined. However, Bowser said the individual appeared to target the Guard members. You think? What we know is that this is a targeted shooting, and one individual appeared to target these guardsmen. Patel said the case is being carried out as an attack on a federal law enforcement officer, adding that the victims are heroes. National Guard was deployed to the nation's capital as part of Trump's federal takeover of the city in August. There are 2,188 National Guard personnel assigned to D.C., according to the most recent update. All right. Y'all got that?
She was 20 years old. Sarah Beckstrom was 20 years old and was killed. The other, Andrew Wolf, the other National Guard member, is 24 years old, fighting for his life. So I don't know what to say. It's a horrible, horrible thing to do, and I hope people look out, and I hope God protects the other ones. Here is the thing. I have seen a lot of people discuss this, and I've seen a lot of people talk about how it's the Biden administration's fault. The Biden administration let these people in. The Biden administration housed them and all that. I'm sorry, but the housing of so-called allies, of people who are considered victims or at risk among Afghans in Afghanistan, has continued under the Trump administration, and there has been very little done in terms of getting these people out or getting these people back. We talk a lot about, this is the issue. We talk a lot about the Mexican border and things like that. I'm sorry, but why hasn't the Trump administration taken full force and dealt with all these people taken over? So this guy was brought over under a program called the Operation Allies Refuge, where they bring so-called or suspected at-risk Afghans and bring them over to the United States to stay here temporarily and to just be safe from the Taliban, and then to do something else with them, either to stay here permanently afterwards or to send them somewhere else. Over 100,000 people were admitted under this program. It's, I understand that when you are when you engage in international, in foreign interventionism, and when America goes and actually occupies a nation and conducts military operations there for security and safety and all that, and we have to say one thing, which is that the whole idea of actually occupying and trying to bring democracy there and keeping it safe is naive, nonsensical stupidity. I'm glad that it was finally put to an end.
Pause. I know you're continuing, but people need to understand why. I'll just say very quickly, guys, we have this mentality because that's what worked with us, that, regular people just want freedom and democracy. And so if nations don't have that, it's because they have a messed up government. So all you need to do, get rid of the tyrant or the bad government and so on. And then freedom and democracy will flourish. Tons and tons and tons of people have died because of that stupid idea. I mean, even the founding fathers here, they said this can work here because we have a certain type of population that is ready for it. And then what do they say? If you had a different sort of population, it wouldn't work. It would be a disaster. And then we sort of lost sight of that, and we just think, hey, just go around. Hey, get rid of Saddam Hussein, then freedom and democracy will flourish. What'd you get? ISIS. Get rid of Gaddafi, get rid of Assad, get rid of these guys, get rid of the tyrants, and then freedom and democracy will flourish. When does that work? You don't have the right kind of population. The only population you have anywhere around there where it looks like it could actually work would be Iran. You might there. I think you have enough people who want freedom and democracy there that it might actually work, or even the return of the Shah or something like that. But yeah, so we have this idea and we go over there and, hey, they got the Taliban over there. Let's get rid of it. Let's just take out the Taliban and then freedom and democracy will flourish. Well, we tried that for decades and then had to leave because it's just not working. And so, yeah, bad idea that leads to tons and tons of bad consequences. But note, everyone's involved in that, right? George Bush, Obama, first Trump, Biden, second Trump. Everyone's kind of part of that, right? Because everyone played some sort of role. And guess what? Once you do that stupid idea, we're going to go over there and stay there and try to prop up a government in a place where, what is it, like 99% of people want Sharia there?
There are some polls. There are conflicting ideas. There are some who say that they would accept a deal that would bring about a proper elections or democracy or something like that. But even among those, the majority want an Islamic democracy or an Islamic government with once again Islamic laws in charge. Half the country doesn't want a democracy. They support the Taliban, and so this is the issue. I'm sorry to say this, but the United States government and the people in the leadership have so often lied to the people, lied to the average American, lied to the people, and say, "Oh yeah, they want us there. They like us. They just want freedom." No, they don't. They don't want you there. They don't like you there. They hate you. They don't want your help. You should leave them to their own filth and let them do whatever they want to do. It shouldn't be your business. You shouldn't be using your resources and your army men, your people, your youth to go over there and to do the dirt for these underdeveloped, uncivilized people that can hardly be called people sometimes.
Oh,
because
hey, just wanted to correct on they don't want your help. Sometimes they do want your help, but it's just, in other words, if 99% of the population want Sharia of some variety, but they think the Taliban is doing it wrong, they're the wrong kind of Sharia, then, we'd love for the U.S. to come and help us so we can get rid of these guys, and then we'll be in charge, and then we'll have our kind of Sharia and so on. So you're basically being useful idiots. You think you're inventing a Western nation over there or something like that, and you live in fantasy land, man. If you have massive portions of the population that want Sharia, it's not going to go in your favor. So either figure out a way to really deal with the problem or stay out of that crap.
You can stay there for 50 years. You can stay there for 100 years. You will not change a thing. The only way to change it would be to colonize the place and to replace the population with your own population and to take it over then and do it like that.
Turks and Germans.
Or to push those people out and just take the land over. And none of it would be a good thing to do. So, and there is this whole idea that, if we're waging wars, if we are at a war, it should be for noble purposes. We should do it for good purposes, for humanitarian purposes. And if we waged war and destroyed half the country, then we should also stay there and build it up. No, why? Wage war against it, destroy it, and then get out and let them deal with it. It would have been much better. Much better consequences for everybody involved than whatever the heck this is. And there shouldn't be any program to accept any asylum seekers from Afghanistan or any of those places into this country. America doesn't have the responsibility. The West doesn't have the moral responsibility to take in a bunch of refugees from here and there and everywhere. Well, just leave it alone, man. You can't deal with it. Leave it alone.
All right, here we had a disagreement. Ethio Chica says, sorry, I disagree with AP and David Wood for the first time. This is the first time you've agreed with good. All the idiotic things we've ever said before until this?
That's pretty good, Ethio Chica.
That's not good. That's disturbing. Anyone who says they always agree with us, I'd be like, what? I don't always agree with us. We'll do something. We'll be like, that was stupid what AP just said.
I know. Sometimes I suggest something or say something, and then I think, okay, that was the dumbest thing ever. So, yeah.
All right. So what are we wrong about? We're not sure what you're disagreeing with. Are you saying we should go and try to build Afghanistan into a nice place and should have just stayed there indefinitely? Or was it the more general thing about how I said taking out the bad leaders and so on, the tyrants, doesn't work if you don't have a population that's ready for some sort of massive change?
Ethio Chica, if you say that we are wrong, then we are probably wrong. So I apologize.
Yeah. Let me break it down like this, specifically with Saddam Hussein, right? You got a couple of different possibilities here, ladies and gentlemen. You can have a good, stable government, a bad but stable government. In other words, you have some sort of tyrant, but he maintains stability. You can go to school and stuff like this. No one's if you get out of line, he's gonna crush you. But as long as you're just, working and stuff like that, raising your family, he's not going to interfere. He'll be brutal to you if you cross him. But guess what? That's someone like Saddam, right? Or you can have a bad and unstable government, right? Chaos, things constantly falling apart. So we always look at the bad but stable government and say, hey, wouldn't it be great if they had a good stable government? So we'll just get rid of the bad guy, the tyrant, get rid of him, and then they can have a good stable government. And what happens? They get chaos instead. Why? Because what did you have in Iraq? You have a pretty big mix of Sunnis and Shias, and a bunch of those guys wanted to start blowing up each other's mosques. There was relative peace under Saddam. Why? They're terrified of that guy. It's like if you have a bunch of wolves, but a lion walks in, the wolves are scared of the lion. They're not focusing on doing whatever wolves want to do. They're terrified of a lion that just walked in the room, right? So the jihadis, the people who want to go and start fights and blow up each other's mosques and go make Christians pay the jizya and so on, they're there. They just know if they go do what jihadis want to do, Saddam's going to be rolling into their town the next day with tanks and mowing them down. So they couldn't do it. So they're terrified of this guy. Then we get rid of him. See, people just want freedom and democracy. We'll get rid of the tyrants and replace him with someone, Western approved.
That
And
was so dumb.
and the
That was
jihadis
so
are
dumb.
not scared of that dude. What do? Instantly they start blowing up each other's mosques, and then things eventually break down, and then you get ISIS forming, and just absolute bloodbath.
That was so dumb.
It was pretty dumb.
Yeah.
It was pretty dumb. So anyway, the point is, if you have some brilliant plan about taking out the tyrant to replace, you better have a really, 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 really good plan of how to replace him while doing while accomplishing whatever he was accomplishing to keep all the terrorists at bay. You better figure out a way to do that, because if you get rid of him without that, you're getting a bloodbath every single time. And then you're going, what? We don't get it. We thought they just wanted freedom and democracy. Well, that's because you're a bunch of morons who've been told all your lives by your politicians and by journalists and by educators and by entertainers that Islam is just wonderful and Islam is all about peace and tolerance. So if you have a bad leader, he's actually against Islam. Get rid of that guy, and then the freedom and tolerance of Islam will flourish. Why doesn't it ever work like that?
David just said all Americans are a bunch of morons.
Yes, that's true. All right, so that was a huge digression. I cut you off, so go right back to your thought before I went on that 10-minute tirade. whatever your last thought was.
Now, my last thought was that it was so dumb to get rid of Saddam in that way and to replace him with something else. It wasn't dumb to get rid of him. It was good to get rid of him, but replacing him with something else and doing the same mess over there was so dumb.
Yeah, just so to be clear, Saddam, evil tyrant. Assad, evil tyrant. Gaddafi, evil. These are bad guys, right? The point here is that there can be worse things. There are worse things. You can have worse things than the guy you're worried about, and when you get rid of that guy, you can end up with something seriously worse. Now, what was your defense of Assad, saying that he's the best guy ever?
No, I was going to say that. So with Assad, so as sad as the situation was in Syria,
it was sad. Come on, dude.
That's all I wanted to say. Sorry, go ahead.
Jokes. This is what we get here, ladies and gentlemen. Talking about serious stuff, and what do we get? We get jokes.
As sad as it was so dumb to do this, So yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm giving up. I gotta get off of here. You caught it, didn't you? Oh man, that was terrible. If you didn't catch it, guys, he made a Assad pun, a Saddam pun, and then I made a Gaddafi pun. That was terrible, and I never want to do that again.
It's as sad as it is so dumb. I gotta get out of here.
Got off of here.
Get off. Okay,
all right. So what were you concluding about Afghanistan?
Wasn't concluding anything. Well, I was saying that I was just saying that they should be banning all asylum seekers from Afghanistan. That's all.
Here's the weird thing. So the U.S. had a dumb plan, but they had a bunch of people in Afghanistan who were their allies. Now, I have to say, I think you do have some kind of obligation. If you're the one who came up with a stupid idea and you had a bunch of people working with you, and then you pull out and leave them at the mercy of the Taliban that they've been fighting against, and these guys are all dead, or these guys are all going to die for being your allies in fighting against the Taliban, which now takes over. I think you should try to help these guys somehow. But there's a huge problem with that idea of, well, we'll just take all these guys in. There's a huge, serious, major problem, which we will get to. And it's something that it doesn't end with this guy. You're going to see this over and over and over again. And you've created a huge, giant mess here.
Alhamdulillah.
Let's take a couple super chats, and then we're going to check out a video clip after this horrible rebuke. Sorry, I disagree with David and AP. But I'm not going to block her. I'm not going to block her as much as I want. No, just kidding. If I were blocking you, I would block you for only disagreeing with us once. That's how I'd be like, this person is insane. I bet after the 15th guy, they were moonwalking in his cave with ease. Also, the joke earlier was about how Momo got whiter. That was, I think, that River and Sea one. Yeah. If a Pikachu prefers low IQ, why does he live in U.S.? Well, he thinks that by marrying tons of cousins here, he will be able to eventually lower IQ and lower the national IQ enough to where Islam will seem like a better option. Music offer AP. WAP melody. I said certified freak 3 times a week. 30 dark al zutmen make this prophet's knees weak. There's holes in the...
Pretty nice. Pretty nice.
Let's see. The sound of violence.
The sound of silence.
Can't wait for Dear Sharia. Count me in. Enoch Burke, Ireland. 500 days in prison for refusing pronouns. Is that guy they keep locking up for just refusing to use people's pronouns? Anyway, guys, you want to know what the solution to that is? Whatever your position on pronouns is and so on, you shouldn't. It's not something you should be forcing someone to say against what he believes and so on. So the solution to that, guys, they keep locking this dude up. The solution is for like 100,000 people to do the exact same thing. They're not going to lock you all up. They'd have to fix that. As long as it's one guy, they can always. As long as it's one guy who's going against the grain, they can keep locking up one guy and punishing one guy. If it's tons of people, there's nothing they can do. Poor Aisha had her dolls taken away and not allowed back into the singles playground. I know. Poor girl. We need to revisit Team America World Police and that epic dialogue. Bak Durka 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 Law Durka Muhammad Jihad Haka Sharpa Sharpa Abak La Allah Durka Durka. Did you ever see Team America, man?
No.
All the terrorists were always going Durka 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 Allah Jihad Jihad Allah Muhammad Durka Durka. Anyway, pretty classic.
I have to watch it.
I'm still waiting for the parody of Simon and Garfunkel's The Boxer. Yeah, that's good for the Dawa guys. Lie, lie, lie. Boom. Lie, 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 lie. AP is the Wipe My Butt song still in the works. What do you mean? That was on Sal's. That was on Sal's channel, unless it's a different one.
Sal made it. I was only making a remix version of it, but haven't continued it. So.
And that was funny because that one was just us running our mouths the entire time, making fun of stuff, and he actually mixed it together into a.
Yeah.
Can you tell me how to wipe my butt?
Well, we did start singing it.
With
I started singing.
And a holla touch. Yeah, but it was just like improv of us goofing off, but it actually fit perfectly into this song.
Yeah. He turned it into a very good song.
He turned it into probably one of the greatest songs ever written.
I wanted to take that and do a cover of it with like a Taylor Swift voice or something. But yeah,
it'd be good. Had no food, could not pay rent. Not an excuse, not even a factor to consider, not even relevant. We all know why he did it and what he believed in. Why can't Americans participate in reality? Yeah, guys,
they should.
Keep in mind, things like this can play a role, but not in the way, oh, just poor guy, he was depressed, and so we started murdering some National Guardsmen. It's connected, but not in the way people think and not in the Zut sense, but we'll get to that in a second. Not supporting an ideology isn't a phobia. Well, it is with Islam. An unemployed Afghan could afford a Smith & Wesson revolver, apparently, and he didn't look like he was starving, unless all the weight that he lost by starving came from one area of his body. I noticed my super chats are being more heavily censored. That's not us, so that could be a YouTube thing. She was murdered, not killed. Yeah, I saw people correcting that. They're like, National Guardsmen killed, and people like murdered. She was murdered. In the past 50 years, the biggest attacks were committed by Muslims shouting, "Take beer," yet still Islam, the religion of peace. Is it wonderful? It sure is. The more people you kill, the more peaceful you are. It's the only religion where that's true. How would you deal with Mid-Eastern Christians who refuse to assimilate into Western culture because they view it as inferior? What do you mean? Midwestern Christians not assimilating. What do you mean? I don't even know what you mean by that. If you mean they're not like not what?
Did you just say Midwestern?
Midwestern.
It says Mid-Eastern, man.
Mid-Eastern.
What's wrong with you?
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. If you're saying Midwestern, I saw what on the screen. This is Western right there. Okay. Well, that's better. How would you deal with Mid-Eastern Christians who refuse to assimilate into Western culture because they view it as inferior?
I haven't ever noticed anything.
Yeah, I haven't seen that as a problem. Right? I haven't seen that as a problem. And really, I mean, you can be like the Amish and say, "Hey, we're not immigrants." If it isn't connected to horribly abusing other people and treating them like garbage and wanting to kill them and subjugate them and take over the government, stuff like that, I seriously don't care. What are you laughing at, dude?
I'm just laughing at the idea of a Christian from the Midwest refusing to assimilate.
That's what I thought. I was like Midwestern. Like I was going down the list of Christians who don't assimilate.
I don't want to assimilate.
Midwestern.
I don't want to assimilate Western culture. I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm not going to the football game. Not going. Not in my Midwest. Definitely made more sense when you said Mid-Eastern. By the way, AP, I'm never glad that you're here, but I'm glad you were here for that. To catch that, because that would have been really stupid for me to conclude going, what are you making? You're not making any sense, man. Midwestern Christians not assimilating? Where is this liar? Banned. I'd have been like that.
I'm gonna block you, ban you for that.
Done. You'll never show your face around here again. He's starving and poor, but drove from Washington to D.C. in a car. He had money to refuel and owned a firearm with ammo. They really think we have Hakikachu IQ. Hey, man, you can borrow some money to make a little road trip. Doesn't mean you're rolling in dough. Got rid of Saddam, and the Christian population in Iraq was specifically targeted by Mohammedans. Saddam was equally evil to all Iraqis. Yeah, and I pointed out about Assad. I've mentioned this before, but I had a friend. This was probably 2009, 2010, and so on. He was an older guy. He would help out when we went to do shows in Michigan. He'd drive us around and stuff like that, so we didn't have to, rent cars and so on. Anyway, he was from Syria. So he came to the United States in the 1980s from Syria. And he said one day to me, driving around, he goes, he still goes back to Damascus to visit family. So keep in mind, this is before the Arab Spring and all this stuff, before ISIS, before all that. But he said he feels safer in Syria than he does in Dearborn, Michigan. And I was like, what? What are you talking about, man? Don't you got actual jihadis in Syria and so on. Why would you feel safer over there? And he goes, you're a Christian over there. And he goes, every jihadi knows that if he puts his hands on a Christian or does something to the Christian community, there are going to be soldiers dragging him out of his house and his family in the middle of the night. That's what's going to happen. They're terrified. They're terrified of what will happen to them. If you're minding your business, no one's going to mess with you. If you cause a problem, they are going to be brutal against you. And so he says he knows that, and he could feel totally safe there. That's all changed, but that's how it was back then. But notice it's a similar principle. Again, you can have a dictator or tyrant who's brutal towards, he's equally brutal towards anyone who gets out of line. So if you're not getting out of line, you can just live your life and so on. But those guys do keep the jihadis under control. Again, we're not saying they're good guys, evil tyrants and so on. But if you're going to take one out and replace him with something, you'd better have a really good plan. Because if you replace him with someone who can't do that the jihadis are not afraid of, you're getting a bloodbath every single time.
That's what they do.
And you will be responsible for the bloodbath. Must be love, melody. Must be love, but it's over now.
It must have been love. Must have been love.
30 years of men and a butthole somehow. This is messed up. 60% of the time, I agree with you every time, Jack Ray.
Noise.
D-Wood AP, would you agree Islam has very little philosophy, no lessons, just legalism, while Christianity has rules but has teachings and morals behind it? The problem with Islam is, like, guys, there's Andrew Wilson's, he's funny and stuff when he's saying it, but there's a serious problem. So one, you have, again, Islam does lead to like massive rates of first cousin marriage and things like that, because you have as its supreme role model a guy who married his first cousin and so on. And so they want to keep everything in the family, and that leads to all sorts of problems and lower IQs. That's going to have that is going to have serious problems for philosophy and for everything else. The other thing is Islam itself. So even if you didn't have the problem with lower IQs and massive rates of first cousin marriage and so on, even if you didn't have that, Islam would just suffocate any sort of scientific endeavor or philosophy. What you had in Islam is, as Islam spread, it would conquer an area and it would get access to their books, and things would take off for a while. Why? The people who are interested in that sort of thing, oh, look at all these philosophy books, they would have to go to the caliph and say, hey, we'd like to investigate, examine these books and find out if there's anything useful for Islam here. And they would get permission. And all of a sudden, philosophy would take off for a little while in Islam, and science would take off for a little while in Islam. What would happen? Islam would suffocate it, because over time, it's encouraging people to think deeply about things and so on. And you just can't have that in Islam. And so Islam would suffocate it, and then it would fizzle out and not work anymore. So you got two big problems there. But yeah, you can have individuals. You can have individual Muslims who can be philosophers and so on, can be great professors and so on. But as far as like large scale, it just doesn't work. Islam suffocates things.
I mean, we have talked about this in the past. When I was an atheist, or when I was an agnostic, I was fascinated with the book of Ecclesiastes, for example. So the Bible is a huge collection of writings, of books that has the Ecclesiastes, the book of Job, Proverbs are just a few examples of things that are. I think actually that, and I thought this as an atheist as well, that Ecclesiastes, for example, is way ahead of its time, philosophically speaking. I'm not talking about just religion or doctrinal things. I'm speaking of philosophically speaking, the way it treats reality and life and meaning and all that. It is far ahead of its time. It is very intellectually stimulating, and teaches great things. Has a grand message underneath, and you can't find something like that in the Quran. The Quran is just completely devoid of any of that, of any philosophical exploration, because it is simply the ramblings of a 7th century child rapist and insane guy put into random pages, whereas the Bible is you can't even compare these things, So Christianity rests on that richness that you find in the Bible, whereas Islam is based on these little insanities. There's no comparison.
Check this out. David, what did God told Abraham about Ishmael? What promises did he made to him, and why God offered him land and descendant? I don't want to make fun of you, dude, but you need to try actually reading passages and understanding them, and not just going with some stupid Dawa nonsense you heard. God told Abraham that the covenant would be established through his son Isaac. Abraham said, what about Ishmael? God said, hey, I hear you. I'll go ahead and make him a great nation, but the covenant's going to be with Isaac. The covenant's going to be with Isaac, and that plays out. You eventually get the Messiah and so on from that line. As far as making Ishmael a great nation, what the Dawa guys will do is say, see, this refers to Islam. No, keep reading. Keep reading. This was fulfilled by Genesis 25. Ishmael was a great nation by Genesis 25. That's the first book of the Bible. It was already fulfilled back then. The fulfillment was there in Genesis chapter 20. It's not talking about Islam. So give it up, guys. Give it up. Imagine taking a passage where it's, hey, this guy's a wild ass of a man, but hey, you requested it. I'll go ahead and make him a great nation. Okay, now it's done. I bless it. You got all these princes that came from him and so on. See, I've done it. But the covenant is with Isaac. And most people go, see, it's talking about Islam taking over. No, my goodness, guys. Stop marrying cousins.
So somebody who is presumably a Muslim asked about what is so deep about it. I would just recommend reading Ecclesiastes if you're really curious.
Yeah.
If you're genuinely curious, sit down and read the book of Ecclesiastes and compare it to your own scripture. Seriously, do it. Don't ask me, do it.
You know, it's funny. The first time I read anything from Ecclesiastes was a George Orwell essay. I read it in high school. It's a George Orwell essay called Politics in the English Language. And so Orwell was an atheist, but he was he quoted a passage from Ecclesiastes to show how you can say something in like brilliant, clear language that is like really deep and so on. And then he says, here's how a modern politician would say it. And it's like complete gibberish and so on that's meant to confuse you, but to make you think that something's been said, even when it's just. So anyway, it's actually interesting stuff. But I remember reading that, I was like, wow, this is good stuff. So yeah, later on I read it and was very based stuff.
Also, by the way, since we're being paid by Jews, for all the Jews who are watching who don't know the English term or the Christian naming, the book I'm speaking of is Kohelet.
You don't know anything. Should have learned our lesson after Charlie Wilson helping them free themselves. No, we do not learn lessons here. The thing you said about Afghanistan, yes, apply the same mentality to Palestine, free like where exactly? Well, what that means is you just wipe out the Jews and then everything will be great. Everything will be, you just let Hamas take over and there everything will be great and you'll get a utopia. Works every time. Intervention worked with Japan and Germany, different kinds of populations, but USA canceled their culture and forced them to Americanize. Americans don't have the backbone to do the same now. That's kind of my view. It's like, that was the idea back in the day. It's understand, hey, war's a mess. You have to deal, if someone has, if you go into some massive war with someone, you need to make sure they cannot do that again. And that is going to involve some things. You're going there to crush them and to make sure that they cannot do that to you again. And you're not doing it to be there. You're not doing this to be in a perpetual war. You are going there to stop them from doing that and so on. And it's understood, yeah, bad things are going to happen and so on. Get it done. Just get it done. Get it over with. Now you can't do that. And what's the result? If you can't go in there and just like crush someone and take over, but you still fight them, then what? You end up with an everlasting war. That's like the result. You have a war that never ends, like Afghanistan, or you eventually need to just back out. That's what you need to do. So anyway, it's like make up your mind. If you don't want to crush, maybe stay out of it. Maybe stay out of it. If you're not going in to win and decisively win, why are you going in to fight? Weird stuff. Saddam school is greater than Hakikachu school. Yeah, I'd have to say. We split the atom in Japan, like the old Zut split Muhammad, and they went from being violent to big teddy anime, just take over institutions. Just came in. I have Afghan refugee friends who worked with our military, putting a Taliban target on their back. What's our responsibility to them? Again, that's where things get difficult. Let me give you an example, right? Like that doctor. There was a doctor who told the U.S. where bin Laden was hiding. This guy put his life on the line. This guy's in prison now for treason. The U.S. has tried to make change. They tried to make a trade. They said, let him go, and we'll give you Afia Sadiq. She's going to be serving the rest of her life in prison for terrorism and so on. So they said, hey, we'll give you a terrorist that you guys want. We'll free a terrorist in exchange for this guy. They have not taken that deal and so on. But yeah, so I would view myself at, you helped us get Osama bin Laden. You put your life at risk to help the United States take out Osama bin Laden. I would think that we have an obligation to make sure you don't spend the rest of your life in prison for helping us. So I would take some steps, and that's the direction I would go. I would trade something, but I have to say, if they didn't agree to a trade, I'd go in there and take them. I'd send in someone to go take that guy and say, what are you going to do? We're the United States. You can't stop us. With the people there, with the people in Afghanistan, yeah, you had people who now have a target on their back and so on. And we just said, hey, we'll take all these people. Okay. Seems like you should be trying to help them. They helped you and so on. But you got it. Guess what? You got a mix there. You got a mix of people. And if you don't have a way of figuring out who just wants to live a normal, good life in the U.S. and who is ultimately going to turn against you, you're going to have some problems. So that's kind of the point. you've created a serious problem that is now going to lead to more and more problems. We'll be getting to that in a second. So we'll get through these super chats. We'll look a little more. And I'll tell you all what's really going on and why you're all screwed really, really bad now.
You've created a monster.
Nobody wants to see Muhammad no more.
Yeah.
Usually it is not.
They want Zoot.
They won't Zoot. Usually it's not a bad regime that makes the population. It's a bad population that makes the regime. A dictator is a product of the people. No vice versa. Well, I don't know. Sometimes you have bad dudes that just take over.
True.
Now, if you had enough solidarity in the population, you should be able to do something about your leaders. But
if you had
those guys tend to make it difficult. Google, I should have served with the Taliban.
Huh, that's interesting.
Looking good. Who? Me, obviously. I Gaddafiing Assad feeling no one gives a damn. Messed up. Please make fun of Peter Beinart's apology. I haven't seen it. Syria's greater than Dearborn. Did David just nuke Dearborn? Yes, I did. I made a T-shirt mock-up and posted it at Act 17. Hope you like it. Okay, I'll check that out. I was referring to Arab Christians. We work with Arab refugees in Aus. Many refuse to learn English, get jobs, or participate in society. Very entitled. Oh, I don't know. Their kids might be different. Sometimes you got to give people time to adapt. Hi, AP and David. Hey, what's up? The Wipe My Butt song I'm referring to is the impromptu song AP made during that stream 11 months ago. Timestamp for is 1 hour and 18. It's goated AP. And what do you think about God's Loophole from Garfunkel? Not familiar with that one. Not familiar with that one, God's Loophole. But it's going to be different from Muhammad's Loophole. All right, guys, let's go ahead and check out a CNN clip. We already read an article. We'll check out the CNN clip, which is more about this guy's connection to the CIA. Then we'll watch Trump's theory about what happened, and then I'll give you my view on what's going on and why we got some serious, serious problems here. Let's check this out.
We've now learned the names of the 2 West Virginia National Guard members who were shot at point-blank range just blocks from the White House. The Justice Department identifying them as 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom and 24-year-old Andrew Wolf. We understand they've undergone surgery and remain in critical condition.
We're also learning new details about the suspect. Authorities say the 29-year-old Afghan national traveled across the country from Washington state to the nation's capital before the attack. We'll have the latest on the investigation in a moment. But first, I want to get to CNN's Brian Todd, who's live at the shooting scene. And Brian, you're learning more about how this attack played.
This says 2 National Guard members in critical condition. So I guess that's before Beckstrom died. As far as I know, was Andrew Wolf still alive? He was, as of the article I read earlier. Let me just check, see if there's an update. Andrew.
Yeah, he is.
He's still alive?
Yeah.
Apparently, both of these. I read an article earlier about that. Apparently, both of them were like super nice, super cool people who were always helping others and so on. Anyway.
out.
That's right, Omar and Boris. We have important new information this afternoon on how the attack played out. We're going to get to what Jeanine Pirro said about that in just a second. But first, we have access here that we have not had before to the actual spot where the shooting occurred. I'm standing at the spot right now. And if you come over here with me, our photojournalist Jay McMichael and I are going to walk you over here. This area here, excuse me, ma'am. This is the bus shelter where, according to officials, at least one of the guardsmen tried to take cover at, and you can see that a plexiglass panel here has been shot out. You can see the fragmented glass up there. This panel is gone.
It's kind of weird how he's saying, hey, we finally have access to this, but like people are just like walking right by.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's blocked off at all.
And I'm going to walk you over here to this planter.
This would be weird, like right after the attack, all these people just walking by. It's like someone just got blasted with gunfire right there.
So I just want to point out, some people have been asking the question for ever, why was the guy naked and why could we see that he had a tiny pee-pee? He was naked because they stripped him to search for bullet wounds and also to see if he has any other explosives or anything hiding. And then they just put him on the bed like that. So
I have to say, that should be standard, and they should go even further with that, right?
Yeah.
It should be like, hey, if you just
not in a good sense.
Yeah, not that far. But if you're a terrorist, you just open fire and stuff like that, you should be stripped completely naked just to check you, and then you should be displayed there so that everyone can look and make sure that you don't have any other weapons and so on. And those pictures should be blasted all over the internet of you. And then you should be confined to a giant container of pig intestines for a little while.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Mm-hmm. And if you die, you should be buried in a vat of pig intestines.
That's good. That's
just my view.
I like that.
Yeah. But we have lots of good ideas here, guys.
Here's here that there is a bullet hole here that entered here and exited here of this planter. There's another planter over here. Jay's going to shoot you a close-up of that. And there's another planter here where this part has been removed. I'm going to walk you over here to show you that part of the planter that was removed. And in the meantime, you see a makeshift memorial here to the victims, people laying flowers and an American flag. Over here is a part of that panel that was actually removed, and you can see additional bullet holes here. One here, one here.
They're just tossing it in the garbage, man. It's like pieces that were shot up that you would think they'd be some kind of evidence. I mean, I guess it's not. I guess they don't need it in court and stuff like that. But they're just tossing this stuff in the garbage.
And this looks like some evidence that was handled by authorities as they started to process the scene last evening. So in addition to that, we have new information from Jeanine Pirro. She is the U.S. Attorney General for the District of Columbia. Earlier today, she spoke to us about the sequence of gunshots. Take a listen.
A lone gunman opened fire without provocation, ambush style, armed with a .357 Smith & Wesson revolver. One guardsman is struck, goes down, and then the shooter leans over and strikes the guardsman again. Another guardsman is struck several times.
And both of those guardsmen are now in critical condition at a local hospital. We have made inquiries with the hospital to learn more about the surgeries and about where they're being treated. The hospital's not gotten back to us on that. As Boris and Omar mentioned, they're identified as Sarah Beckstrom, 20 years old, Andrew Wolf, 24 years old. Those are the two guard members who were struck yesterday in this attack. Beckstrom has been in the Guard.
Air Force Staff Sergeant, National Guard, Army Specialist Sarah Beckstrom. They were National Guard from West Virginia, guys. These are my people. I grew up in West Virginia. They're significantly. Yeah, when I heard it was two people from West Virginia, I was like, hey, maybe I'm familiar with them, but they're way younger than me. Gosh, Sarah Beckstrom, she's younger than my two oldest kids, man.
Since 2023, according to officials. Andrew Wolf has been in the Guard since 2019. According to officials at the news conference, were sworn in yesterday. We believe that meant that they were sworn in not as new Guard members, but sworn in as deputies for the U.S. Marshals, which they have to do about every month. Guys, back to you.
Brian Todd live for us in Washington, D.C. We hope to learn a positive update on those Guard members at some point soon. CNN senior national security reporter Zach Cohen joins us now. Zach, take us through what we've learned about the suspect.
Yeah, we're learning quite a lot about his background. It's a 29-year-old Afghan national who came.
This where, yeah, I got this clip. It was titled something about that he was working for the CIA or something like that. That's what I wanted to get to here.
To the United States in 2021 as part of this program that was implemented by the Biden administration after.
1 second. Rahmanullah Lakanwal, Afghan national, worked with CIA in Afghanistan, moved to U.S. in 2021, granted asylum this year, just got asylum this year.
the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Now, it seems that why he was allowed to come to the U.S. in part was because of his work with the U.S. military and CIA. He was, our understanding, he served in an elite counterterrorism unit that worked directly with U.S. intelligence and military units in Afghanistan, including active combat against Taliban forces at the time. And so there were thousands of those individuals who served in those roles that were evacuated when the Taliban started to rise to power after the U.S. left. And it appears that was the basis for his immigration into the United States. Now, of course, several layers of vetting and took place after he got here. He was only temporarily allowed to come here at first, but his background with the CIA and the intelligence community does seem to be the basis for his travel to the U.S.
So what?
Everyone got that? Makes sense, right? He was on your side. He was your ally, and he wasn't like one of the guys that just turns and opens fire on U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan. He's part of an elite unit going around taking out Taliban terrorists. If it's after the war, seems like, hey, this is a guy we should try and help, right? And then he goes around killing people. What's going on here? We're going to find out, guys. We're going to find out.
Was that vetting process actually like? Because obviously there were a lot of Afghans that were coming over as part of that Operation Allies Welcome.
Yeah, by all accounts, it should have been very extensive. We know that in that initial process, he would have been vetted by the U.S. government, including the CIA. And then once he was granted temporary asylum, as he applied for permanent status, he would have gone through a variety of different layers of vetting. Those include
1 second. Identity and background checks, biometric vetting, in-person interviews, assessment of individualized risk, eligibility under U.S. law. So looks like they're really, 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 really careful with these guys who just opened fire on 2 National Guardsmen.
Identity and background checks, biometric vetting, in-person interviews, assessment of an individual risk, and eligibility under U.S. law. So that's several layers. I mean, it's important to remember, too, the ultimate approval and of his asylum application was granted under the Trump administration in 2025.
Important in the context of the president and allies saying that this was the policy of the previous administration to let folks in without vetting. Important to keep that in mind. Zach Cohen, thank you so much. Let's get some perspective now with Donnell.
So just clear, everyone, he was brought here under the Biden administration, granted asylum under the Trump administration. So they're pointing out all the administrations are involved.
He is the former head of Homeland Security and Intelligence for Washington, D.C., also a member of the faculty at Georgetown University's Emergency and Disaster Management Program. Donnell, thank you so much for being with us. Happy Thanksgiving. We're grateful that you could share some time. I wonder what a review, as the president has said, of every migrant admitted to the U.S. under the previous administration would look like, as we've also learned that officials are going to pause any migration case related to Afghans pending further review. What does all of that entail?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about so it's Thanksgiving. I saw somewhere that the reason they were on duty was they were working so that other people could spend Thanksgiving with their families.
Damn.
That entails going through and interviewing quite possibly anywhere from 70 to nearly 100,000 people, depending on what reports you read. It's got to be very clear to the audience that, these Afghan asylum seekers who've come over have committed crimes at such a low rate. I was unable to find any major crimes that were committed by these individuals. These individuals and their family members served the U.S. service members abroad, helped save lives. In fact, there's many documented cases of former service people going over to rescue them even after the evacuation. What happens is that once these individuals go through that layered process of vetting, and they get into the United States, they're kind of free to move around the country at their will. There's no further surveillance of them. There's no surveillance state of them. They're just like any other asylum seeker. They'll go through their process, and throughout their process, they will have interviews, and then they'll be part of a normal, non-enhanced vetting. What I believe that the administration's talking about now is some type of advanced vetting. The other thing I wanted to mention is that...
Well, side note, what'd the guy say about the people who were brought here? These were guys who helped us. They helped us. They helped us against the Taliban. What could possibly go wrong?
When you interview these people, when they go through the vetting process, you're looking behind, right? You're looking at their previous history, their ideology, who they've been associated with. That can't predict the future. And so this is the difficult part that the administration finds himself in now.
Yeah, especially as we've seen so many cases of people being radicalized through a number of different means, if this in fact turns out to be terrorism. And that,
yeah, keep in mind, I don't know anything beyond what we're seeing right now. It could always turn out to be some completely different explanation. He could have, as Trump said, just gone cuckoo. That's a possibility. Someone can just lose it. But there is an obvious explanation here if you understand how Islam works. But let's let them finish here.
Leads me to the next question. How is it that officials determine a motive accurately here? Because you have the administration saying that this was terrorism, but the investigators themselves have to piece that together to show evidence of it.
Well, step one, since he's alive, would be to ask him. Some of these guys will just tell you exactly what they're thinking.
Yeah, in the absence of the surviving individual who's now under arrest cooperating, all reports saying he's not cooperating, they can still piece together their background, who they communicated with. You know, Boris, you and I have been on this topic for many times. Yeah. Invariably, many of these individuals who are radicalized and mobilized to violence have some type of breadcrumb trails. We call that leakage. They may have told someone.
That's not what Mohammed called leakage.
Yeah.
May have intimated this online, spoken with someone, shown some type of signs. It's always some type of signs. People just don't wake up, drive across the country with a gun and open fire on uniformed service members. So there's going to be something there they'll be able to find, even though he's not cooperating.
Now, someone here says, Lone Wolfie says, suspect is not cooperating with police. Well, let's just say you have ways of making people cooperate.
I wanted to go back to something that you alluded to a moment ago, and that is the suspect's previous relationship with the U.S. government and his work in Afghanistan, including with the CIA, according to Director John Ratcliffe. How do you read that relationship?
You know, everything I've read that's open source available says that he served honorably and was trusted at a very high level. Like, you don't
trusted. This was a trustworthy guy. Again, there were people that they were suspicious of over there. This guy was completely trustworthy, apparently, the entire time he was working with the CIA. And then he got over here. Everything seems fine until he opens fire.
You don't get attached to a secret top secret unit with the CIA and special operations if you haven't been vetted even before the evacuation, right? So they trusted this individual, quite possibly with their life, to make sure that they wouldn't leak any information to adversaries, what they're doing, their movements, what they're looking for. And so something drastic has to happen over the last 3 years since he's gotten here, Boris. This is really unprecedented. And in a year that the word unprecedented has been used an unprecedented amount of times, we need to just sit back and look at how bonkers this is, that someone would actually open fire on U.S. service members. I did some research before we came on. I haven't seen any incident of this in my lifetime, and I'm over 50 years old.
And Donnell Harvin, thank you so much for the perspective. Appreciate it.
I really didn't want to know your age. Yeah.
Who?
That guy. He said he's 50 years old. I don't care. So.
Who?
That guy.
Why don't you leave him alone, man?
I don't want to know his age.
We don't.
No. I didn't want to know this information. Why do I have to know this thing?
It's important facts.
It's not.
He's pulling rank on you, man. You're young. You don't even know what you're talking about. This guy's been around forever.
Fair point.
All right, we got one more. We got one more short clip, which is Trump giving his theory. We'll just take a couple super chats real quick, then we'll watch that, and then I'll give you my theory, ladies and gentlemen. Song idea: how to solve a problem like Sharia.
That's interesting.
Is that already parallel to a song? I should have served with the Taliban is an article 7 months ago. Afghani got pulled over and pulled a gun and shot at the cops. They are assimilating. So yep.
I saw that clip. Yeah.
Similar idea. I should have worked with the Taliban. I picked the wrong side, guys. I've realized I was on the wrong side. Huh. David, what source did you get idea of philosophers asking caliphs for permission to read philosophy? Could be interesting history dissertation for me. That is in I read that in Robert Kane's book on free will. He was talking about Islamic ideas, and he pointed out that he pointed out that Muslims would have to go to the caliph to ask for permission to look into these things and so on. So you can check out Robert Kane's book there. Imagine that the Afghans are gumballs, where 1% of those gumballs are poisoned. Would you risk eating any of those gumballs? The Biden administration did. That's one of the issues.
And the Trump administration.
Yeah, so let's suppose you bring in 10,000 people and you're sure vast majority are going to be totally fine. All right, so a tiny minority of them are going to go on a killing spree. Well, that's a good deal. Heard a nun in Croatia was stabbed by salami today.
I haven't heard of that.
We got the thumbs up here. Muhammad taught the angel was squeezing his throat. Turns out it was just Al-Zutation boy taking turns Al-Zutting him for the next ayah. This is very Islamophobic.
That's pretty messed up.
The fact that we don't have advanced vetting is absolutely insane. Yeah, the fact that hey, now we're going to do some advanced vetting. I read that he intentionally hit the girl and hit the guy because he showed up. Perhaps he have targeted her because she turned down a proposition he made. Well, no, because it wasn't like he knew her and stuff. He drove across the country to target some people. Wanted to target them in Washington, D.C. Yes, the song How to Solve a Problem Like Maria. Okay, there you have it, AP. So there's are you familiar with that song?
I'm not familiar, but I know the title.
So. I've never heard that before. And Super Chat, no comment there. All right, guys, one more clip. This is from Donald Trump, and he's challenged by a reporter. Let's see how he responded. Very rudely, very rude. Some say it's the most rude response ever.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
A question about this tragic shooting in Washington, D.C. U.S. officials say that the suspect worked very closely with the CIA in Afghanistan for years, that he was vetted, and the vetting came up clean.
He went cuckoo. I mean, he went nuts. And that happens, too. It happens too often with these people. You see them. But look, this is how they come in. This is how they're standing on top of each other, and that's an airplane. There was no vetting or anything. They came.
Wait a minute.
What?
Of course I know that song. That's from The Sound of Music. That's where the song. Okay, yeah. Anyway.
Wait,
continue.
which song is it in The Sound of Music? I watched that once.
I think it's at the beginning, at the monastery or nunnery or something.
No, at the beginning she's running around going, "The hills are alive with the sound of music."
I know, it's after the beginning. Nuns sing it or something like that, I think.
Oh, and then I remember doe, a deer, a female deer, ray, a drop of golden sun. That was basic.
Okay.
Unvetted.
Anyway, look, so guys, he's showing you all these guys who are just piled into planes and brought over here, and he's saying, "Yeah, how thorough does it look like the vetting was?"
And we have a lot of others in this country. We're going to get them out, but they go cuckoo. Something happens to them.
Your DOJ IG just reported this year that there was thorough vetting by DHS and by the FBI of these Afghans who were brought into the U.S. So why do you blame the Biden administration?
Because they let them in. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came in on a plane along with thousands.
Are you stupid? Are you dumb? Are you dumb, stupid, or dumb? Huh?
Man.
Are you a stupid person? The president, the most powerful man in the world, ladies and gentlemen. Are you dumb, stupid, or dumb?
Are you a stupid person?
And by the of these Afghans who were brought into the U.S. So why do you blame the Biden administration?
Because they let them in. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person. And
stupid people ask questions. He just said it. You could clip that. You're asking questions because you're a stupid person.
There's a law passed that it's almost impossible not to get them out. You can't get them out once they come in. And they came in, and they were unvetted, they were unchecked, there were many of them, and they came in on big planes, and it was disgraceful. And if you look, you'll see there was a law passed. It makes it almost impossible not to let them in, not to certify them, so to speak, once they come in. And they came in, and they shouldn't have come in. And frankly, the whole thing was a mess. The whole Afghanistan situation was a mess. It should have never taken place. If we're going to go out, and we would have gone out because I had everybody ready to go, we were going to go out with strength and dignity and precision, and we would have left from Bagram, and we would have kept Bagram, by the way, because of its very close relationship to China and where they make their missiles.
China.
But when you let the people come in by the thousands and thousands and thousands, they made a terrible mistake.
All right, guys. Have any questions? If you do, you're stupid.
Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? You're stupid.
I'm just going to start responding to people like that. Are you stupid? Every super. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Yeah. People are, a bunch of people are saying clip that. I guess clip that for the soundboard and stuff like that. Whenever someone play that. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Classic. Classic Donald J. Trump. All right, guys. So what do y'all think? What do y'all think?
Pretty good.
Why'd this guy? Keep in mind, I don't know. It's like everything is probabilities. Like, based on the limited amount of information we have, I think, okay, here's the best explanation for this. There are other possible explanations. It might turn out to be something totally different. But what do you think is the real explanation for an Afghani soldier who worked with the U.S. killing Taliban jihadis, comes to the U.S. Things don't go too well for him. They had trouble getting a job, everything else, since he got asylum here earlier this year, but decides to go kill some National Guardsmen. What do you think was going through that guy's head? It's pretty straightforward, I think.
Yeah, well, the thing is, this is one of those very rare cases where, people like to say, oh, terrorism happens because of Western interventionism. This is one of those cases where I think, well, they actually have a point when they say it, because here is a very undeniable link, or possibly a causal link to interventionism. And the interventionism and the consequences of that should have never happened. They result in things like these, and it's not good. But there are some explanations that he actually went crazy and that he was having paranoid thoughts of like, oh, they're going to hand me over to the Islamist terrorists. They're going to deport me or something like that. I'm not sure what part of that is true. But it seems to be a little bit of a mess. But what's your straightforward explanation?
So as far as these can be connected. These can be connected, right? But basically, so you have massive Muslim majority population. Everyone there wants Sharia. If you're fighting against the Taliban, you believe they're just the wrong group. They're not the correct group to be in charge. Then the United States comes over there. Hey, we'll help you get rid of the Taliban. You start helping the United States get rid of the Taliban. Now, you could just be doing this because you want something else and you want the Taliban to lose, so you can win and your ideas can actually win. Or you could actually be some sort of sellout. Hey, the United States is, the United States is going to win. We're going to take over, and things go wrong. They're going to take me in over there, and then I'll have a better life over there, and things are going to go great. And then that doesn't work out. So you're ticked off. Wait a minute. I basically sold myself to the U.S. and now I just get nothing in return. I get asylum, but I thought I'd be like showered with money and I'd be a hero over here and I'd be living large, and I'm not living large. So you could just be ticked off, something like that. But as far as something that you would need to be seriously concerned about, right? You had people working with the United States government, working with the United States military, killing their fellow Muslims, fighting their fellow Muslims. Now, lots of these guys have no problem fighting their fellow Muslims if they believe they're from some wrong group or something like that. Why? Go back through Islamic history. Muslims were always fighting Muslims. Muslims were always fighting Muslims. Aisha, whose title in Islam is the mother of the faithful, after Muhammad died, a little while after Muhammad died, Aisha marched an army. Aisha, the mother of the faithful, marched an army against Ali, whose title in Islam is the commander of the faithful. You had the mother of the faithful marching an army against the commander of the faithful, and about 10,000 Muslims died in bloody combat. There were Muslims on both sides of that battle who had fought alongside Muhammad at Badr and Uhud and the Battle of the Trench and so on. Now they were killing each other over a disagreement. So it's always part of Islam that you can kill your fellow Muslims for being messed up and so on. Doing it with something like the United States of America, the great Satan, that's a different story. Now you are allied with the kuffar, killing your fellow Muslims. Now, guys, we've covered passages. We've covered the passages many times before, but just take a basic verse like Surah 5, verse 33. We have people, when they say Islam's a religion of peace and tolerance, they'll quote 532, ignore the fact that it says this was for the Jews. If anyone kills a man, it's as if he's killed all mankind. Yeah, it says that was for the children of Israel. The next verse says that the penalty for making mischief in the land it gives a list of penalties. Execution, crucifixion, dismemberment, or imprisonment or exile, depending on the translation. But depending on the severity of the mischief you're making in the land, it's a worse penalty. Okay, well, pretty much the most severe kind of mischief in the land would be a non-Muslim military taking over a country. That is the most severe kind of mischief. Guess what? According to Islam, all those guys, every soldier, the entire government, taxpayers who funded that, they're all under a death sentence according to Islam, if anyone's able to carry it out. You worked with them. You're a Muslim and you worked with them. Yeah. Right? And hey, if you're over there and it's the Taliban, it's like, hey, I'll side with anyone to get rid of these guys. I can't stand these guys. I hate these guys. So, hey, I'll work with the U.S. to do that. Then the Taliban actually wins. You didn't get your way. You didn't get the victory you wanted. Your group isn't in charge. They won. Everything you did was for nothing. And then you end up in the U.S. You can't get a job, and now you have time to think about your status in Islam. You have time to think about your status in Islam. What's my status in Islam if I helped the United States military kill a bunch of Muslims and I was on their side and I was actually part of a group going around killing Muslims, the Muslims who eventually, by the grace of Allah, won and defeated this mighty Satan, and I was fighting against them on the side of the United States, and I'm here now. What do you think happens when you die and you face Allah for judgment? What do you think? Once you've had time to process this and you're thinking, what did I just do? What did I just spend years of my life doing? Helping the kuffar kill Muslims. What happens to me on Judgment Day? You are in all kinds of trouble with Allah. And what good deeds can you possibly do? How much alms can you give to charity to make up for the fact that you sided with the United States of America in killing a bunch of your fellow Muslims? How many good deeds do you need to do to balance the scales and make sure you get to spend eternity in paradise? You would not know. There is no, here's the number of things you need to do to make up for siding with the United States as they make the most extreme form of mischief in a Muslim land. There's There's nothing you could do to where you could know that you're actually going to be okay with Allah, except one thing you can do. There is one, count them, one thing you could do that would, according to Islam, tip those scales, and you know you're going to paradise, in spite of all the things you've done. There's one. Any idea what that is, ladies and gentlemen?
Killing the disbelievers and dying? What?
Die while fighting the unbelievers. Die while fighting, die while slaughtering the unbelievers in the name of Allah. That is your ticket out of what you just created. And this is why I'm saying, guess what? Is that the only guy who just came to the United States from Afghanistan? Keep in mind, I'm a guy who thinks, okay, if you were helping the United States and so on, I think people should help. I think the United States should try and help you and make sure you don't get killed and so on. But that's why I'm saying this is a mess, because you have people that seems like you should help, and yet it's obvious a portion of those people, whatever the percentage is, could be small, could be a larger percentage, but you're going to have people thinking, I was on the side of the United States of America helping them as they killed Muslims. I am screwed, absolutely 100% screwed on Judgment Day, unless I do the one thing that guarantees me paradise. And that's go kill some of these guys in the name of Allah and die while it happens. And that is your only way out. That's why I think you're probably going to be seeing this again. And that's why I think we got all kinds of problems right now.
That's pretty racist.
Anyway, I would just point out, guys, I think that, I mean, that's like obvious from knowing what's in the Muslim sources and understanding like what happens when these guys realize, wait a minute, I was just going against the Taliban, man. I don't like those guys. I was willing to work with the United States just because they were going to help us against the Taliban, but the Taliban won. The Taliban won. So I didn't actually accomplish anything except working with these guys as they killed some Muslims. And now I'm going to have to face Allah on Judgment Day. There is no amount of normal good deeds of like charity and so on, helping people. There's no amount of good deeds that are going to outweigh that. That's like the worst of the worst. And the only way of solving that problem is to go die while slaughtering some of these guys.
That's pretty Islamophobic.
It's pretty bad, man. Pretty bad, the situation we're in.
It's pretty racist.
Yeah, people are pointing out mission failed. He's still alive. I can pretty much guarantee his plan was to die, and I'm going to go start shooting these people, and they're going to shoot me back, and then I'm going to be dead, and then I'm going to go face Allah and be clear of the wrong that I've done. And now, not so much. Now he's got to be thinking, uh-oh, I got problems now.
That was a pretty stupid move, boy.
Pretty dumb. So what do you guys think? We got a problem here? We're going to be seeing this problem again?
All problems are solved now.
Yeah, we caught him. Guys, keep in mind. So, it was just a guy who went cuckoo. So if he just went cuckoo, then we're okay, because the guy who went cuckoo, we got him, and everyone else hasn't gone cuckoo, so everything's going to be right. Everything's going to be fine, right?
No, it was the Biden administration that made all the problems. Now that we have Donald Trump, he's going to take care of things, so we're fine.
Yeah. Better come up with some sort of plan. Because I guarantee you're going to see that again, unless you figure out something. And keep in mind, they're talking about more advanced vetting and so on. Guys, you could have advanced vetted this guy last year, and he might have totally checked out in every way. Hey, this guy helped us. You could give this guy truth serum. You could hook him up to a lie detector. Hey, you want to kill people? It might be completely no. It's when you think through things Islamically later on, you can come to a completely different conclusion. Whoa. And guess what? You might be talking to someone online who's telling you this stuff, right? You might be talking to people online going, do you realize what you've done? Do you realize the trouble you're in on Judgment Day? Do you realize there's nothing you can do to fix this except one thing? If you actually believe in Islam and you actually believe in what the Muslim sources say, you're going to realize I am in serious trouble unless I do something really, 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 really big. But guess what? That reasoning it doesn't just apply to that dude. That's anyone can be guided straight through the exact same reasoning. Not going to be pretty, guys. Not going to be pretty. Spain had the same problems after the Reconquista. Former Muslims not integrating heavily influenced the creation of the Spanish Inquisition. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. How to Solve a Problem Like Maria is from The Sound of Music and sung by 3 nuns. Movie starring Julie Andrews. We know the movie. I just sang you like 12 songs from it. I just don't remember this one. Deborah here says, no, it's West Side Story. West Side Story. Reporter has junior level IQ.
Yes.
Trump should debate Junior, and Junior could be saying stuff, and Trump can just go, are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Well, yes, I am. That our goal in Islam is to be as stupid as possible. Just ask Daniel Hakikachu. Apostate of Allah says, I have a question. Are you stupid? Are you stupid, Sarah?
Are you a stupid person?
Are you a stupid person with your questions? House of Hikmah says, I was blocked by the world's leading defender of child marriage. I think we all know who that is. He's also the world's leading defender of first cousin marriage and low IQs. On Twitter, just for reminding him of his own words to IP when he posted about you, lol. So you reminded him that he supports sex with 4-year-olds, and he flipped out and blocked you.
Based.
David, be honest. You were joking about that 15-year-old girl story before prison, right? Or was it taken out of context? Well, if you didn't watch the 6-hour live stream, you don't know what the point of all that was. That would definitely be taken out of context.
Yeah, there's no need to further explain it. It's all in the video. It's 6 hours. Go watch it.
Oh, we're going to explain it because I'm going to respond to articles. You know, I haven't read any of those articles yet. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it sometime. I'm going to do it sometime soon. We'll go through the articles and then we'll clarify things and then we'll see some problems. Hey, some of these, they're called watchdog ministries. I don't know if they have a nicer name. I've seen them called attack dog ministries and so on, but they attack people, and apparently they do good work sometimes because there are pastors who are like massively abusive and so on, and so they expose that sort of thing and so on. But they also can be seriously messed up. Like there was what was it?
Isn't it called discernment ministries or something?
Oh yeah, yeah. I know that was Pulpit and Pen. They call themselves a discernment ministry. But you have this recurring problem. It's they'll do something good and get famous and be praised for it, and then they'll try to do the same thing over and over again. They'll start doing it where it's not working. Like, so Pulpit and Pen exposed Ergen Caner for making up a bunch of parts of his testimony. So Ergen Caner, if you go back 20 years, Ergen Caner was like probably the most popular Christian speaker on Islam and so on. He was a former Muslim. He did convert, but he started exaggerating all these things. Like he was brought over here to the United States for jihad and so on. He was trained for jihad and then brought to the United States. And then it gets revealed he came to the United States when he was 3 from Sweden. And he was saying that he was from Turkey and he was trained as a jihadi and brought over here and stuff like this. And then, he started talking to a Christian and he's saying the Christian didn't make fun of my broken English. Like, dude, you grew up in the United States from the time you were 3. What kind of horrible broken English did you have here? Anyway, he made up a bunch of stuff in his testimony. Muslims started calling him out for it. And then a discernment ministry called Pulpit and Pen put it all together and exposed him. And then he was, anyway, then he lost his position at a university, went somewhere else, and then lost that and so on. And no one listens to him anymore. So Pulpit and Pen got a lot of credit. Everyone's praising them for calling out that guy. What did they do next? They went after Nabil, saying he made up his testimony. I'm responding. I'm going, guys, I was there. He's not making this stuff up. He's not making this up. I was there every step of the way. Can verify. I mean, I can't verify if he said he was thinking something or something like that, but conversations, things like that, I was there, so not making it up. And then they latched onto. They took 2 video clips of him giving his testimony in 2 different places, right? And he's talking about the second dream he had, where he asked for a dream that he didn't have to interpret, and he dreamed himself into a parable. And they showed a clip of him saying, and then I looked through the door and I saw David sitting inside this big room. And they played another clip of him where he's giving his testimony somewhere else. And he said, and then I look inside the door and David's standing there. He said, oh, in this clip, he said, I saw David standing. In this other clip, he said, I saw David sitting. So you see, he's making this stuff up. He's making up his testimony. So I responded, I'm like, well, guys, I was there the next day when he called me about that dream and asked me how I would interpret it. And he said, yeah, I was in there sitting. So he's not making that up. And they're like, then why did he change the story and say standing? He's clearly, and it's like, what does that add? What does that add to the story that he's embellishing or something? I would consider that misspeaking, just like, you're telling your story and stuff like that. And you say standing instead of sitting and so on. They made it this, tried to make it this big deal. This guy's fabricating his story and stuff like that. Tried to destroy him. Why? Well, that's what made you famous before. And so you want to keep doing that, but you keep doing that when it makes absolutely, you're being a force of destruction. Anyway, I think that's what some of these groups are like. They'll do something good. They'll expose something that's legitimately bad, but then they just end up trying to just attack everyone and so on. So anyway, I've seen these guys are really quick to just make things up. And so anyway, I've seen some toxic behavior from some of the discernment ministries. And so there's this weird situation where they actually do good work, but they can be very toxic in other ways. And so you don't want them destroyed. Someone has to call out screwed up stuff in churches and so on, but they seriously need to be, they need to avoid doing some of the things they're doing, because some of it is very bad. But I wouldn't mind going through some of that, and we'll just go through some of their tweets and articles and so on, and look, and we'll point out some of the bad behavior, and we'll point out some of the things where they're right on. But yeah, we'll check those out. Good job, guys, as always. AP's frozen, everyone. Sorry. Maybe we'll see him. Maybe he'll log off and then log back in, and then we'll be able to see him actually moving to where he won't be frozen, like in the movie Frozen. Ha! You lost. When did this become a thing, fun. Pretending to be frozen?
I don't know. I just thought of it earlier.
Let's not let this become a thing, guys. Good job, guys. As always, D Wood.
The thing is, I was kind of challenging myself. I was reading the chat, and some of it was really funny, so they almost got me to laugh at some point. The chat is good.
That should be a challenge. Make AP laugh, and you try not to laugh, but you have to actually read the chat as people are posting stuff.
That's very difficult with me. It's very hard for me not to laugh at some of these jokes here. So.
Meek Greek posted this, I believe, before I said my thoughts, but said it's a possibility he felt guilty for helping the USA and wanted to achieve Jannah via jihad. Those are my thoughts.
That's true.
Been running the moral argument against Muslims, and they've been telling me that Muhammad is morally perfect, but doesn't need to do moral things. Lol. Yeah, they've got a problem with declaring Muhammad this awesome pattern of conduct, as the Quran says. Like, if you listed like the 10 worst things someone could do, like Muhammad did like 6 of them. And so it's like, what do you mean by this guy is morally great or morally perfect or something like that? Like the sort of things, like you would have to do some serious searching to find someone who did things as messed up as Muhammad. Your neighbors haven't done anything close to it, right? The people you run into and interact with on a daily basis have not done the sort of awful things Muhammad did. So you say like Muhammad is this awesome standard of perfect moral conduct. Like, what are you basing that on? And they're not based, at the end of the day, they're not basing it on behavior. They're basing it on, well, Allah says it. Therefore, it doesn't matter how many terrible things Muhammad did, they're still good somehow.
Therefore, it's not based, because it's not based on anything good.
It's true. Not based. Question, is it true that a Muslim dying by a woman doesn't go to heaven because Muhammad, well, silence of the lamb? I've seen people say that. I've never seen a Muslim source saying that a Muslim who gets killed by a woman would not go to heaven. So I don't know if that's actually just completely made up, or if there's some source that says that I've just never seen before. Idea, remove the religion status from Islam, declare it a dangerous political ideology, and outlaw it all over the West. By now we know it's dangerous.
Based, I agree. Let's do it.
No, that would be too mean. But how is it the fault of the hummus eaters? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that'll be Candace Owens, guys. Now, right now, she's...
Tucker Carlson.
What? Oh, connecting this to the Jews? Yeah, that could be either one of them. Yeah, Candace is in a bunker right now, avoiding being assassinated by the Macrons. Did you see Milk Bar put together her theory? And it was all about like their chocolate factory, and she believed that Brigitte's family were like Nazis and so on, and so they came there and they had their chocolate factory, and then all this stuff was about to come out, and so they knew Candace was about to figure this out. Candace was gonna solve the mystery, so they killed Charlie Kirk just to distract her so she wouldn't figure this stuff out. And then the CIA's connected and the Jews and everything, and it's just like, how?
The funny thing is, for the longest time now, I wondered if she's really this insane or if she's just pretending for the grift of it, for the money of it. Because think about it, just from the channel alone, she makes millions of dollars. Just from the channel, just from the YouTube channel. Aside from that, she has other content and other sources of income. Then she has already some wealth lined up from other things that she did before in the past. She can add this to it whenever she goes live and she talks about some insane conspiracy theory. She gets more and more money. It's so many people are tuning in because it's kind of moving like idiocracy. So I'm still wondering at this point, I'm still not entirely convinced of either side, whether she is actually that insane or whether she's just pretending a little bit for the money. I lean more and more towards she is actually really, really crazy, really insane, but also that she's being deceived by by people actually affirming the things that she says. Because think about it, even right now, if she actually goes with this court case against the Macrons, she's going to lose it. She's going to lose the court case. It's pretty much guaranteed she's going to lose it. So she will probably either go through with it and lose it, or she will settle outside of court. If either of those things happen, that should normally be a complete death of her credibility for people. But you know what's going to happen, right? Even when that happens, even when she loses in front of a court because of her ridiculous claims, or settles outside of court, it still will not kill her popularity and her credibility in the eyes of thousands of stupid people watching her and supporting her. The day after she loses the court case, she will go out probably and make a documentary about how the court and the Macrons together were corrupted and whatnot, and people will still tune in, and 10,000 people will watch it. It's so she's being deceived by stupid people agreeing with her while she's being completely insane and a grifter. It's very, I don't know. It's like a beginning of an idiocracy here.
Yeah, I've said that I believe she is high-functioning schizophrenic, and I say that because I used to have delusional thoughts, and I tell people now what my delusional thoughts were back then. But back then, I didn't share most of those delusional thoughts with people because why? You think, well, I'm the only one who understands this. I'm the only one who can see this. These guys aren't going to get it. They're too stupid, and so on. So you can actually keep that stuff to yourself and actually be working for other people and so on. All of a sudden, you go out on your own, and you blurt out one of your delusional, crazy conspiracy theories, and what happens? Instead of people going, oh my goodness, you're nuts, a bunch of people cheer you on and they shower you with money. Now it's being reinforced that it's good to let out the crazy, right? And so what happens? You just keep letting out the crazy. And now you just share every insane, deranged, delusional thought that pops into your head, and people shower you with praise and money. Oh, you're so great. You're the only one who sees this. You're so brilliant. How come no one else gets this? And you basically take your delusional, insane thinking and build your community upon this. And now your entire community is crazy, right? They didn't have the delusional thoughts, but they've accepted you as this great hero, and so they accept your thinking. You do their thinking for them. So she's being rewarded for letting the crazy out, and that just encourages you to keep being as crazy as possible. And the crazier you are, the more you're rewarded for it. And what's the result? You see it. You see it right now.
There are some people who say, no, you don't know the law. It's going to be, she's probably going to win it. It's very unlikely that she would win this. Yes, you have free speech, and it's very difficult to be sued in America for free speech matters. But you can't simply go on a tirade and repeatedly defame somebody in such a brutal way, despite being told with legal letters that you are wrong and that you need to retract it, and then given evidence for it, acknowledge the evidence in front of everyone's eyes, then dismiss it and still continue with it. What she now has to do in front of the court is she needs to prove that that she didn't have any bad intentions, that she genuinely believed, and that she genuinely was not aware of the evidence that refuted her claims. It's going to be very difficult for her to do that. The Macrons made sure to send her as much as possible notice and evidence and legally supported retraction demands, which she dismissed, which she looked at the evidence, signed it, and then denied it. So this is not... she's going to lose it. She's most likely going to lose it, and she knows it, which is why she's tried to dismiss it. She's tried to have it dismissed, but it wasn't dismissed. And next thing, she said she won't, but she will probably seek settlement. So we'll see.
I heard Muhammad was stabbed by 30 salamis in one night. That is true. It was terrible. Vetting only works on the front end. We talk not in the Zoot sense. Vetting only works on the front end. Fear of retaliation is what protects your back end. It's from Al Zoot Meatpacking.
Yes, it's pretty good.
D Wood, so you believe the shooter is having regret killing other Muslims for USA instead of this being a planned, orchestrated attack? Well, what did I say? I said, you've got the evidence in front of us, and I go with the best explanation. I said there can be other explanations. This could have been an assassination ordered by the CIA. It could have been targeted by Donald Trump. He could have been paid by all kinds of people. Any of that's possible. But you have glaringly obvious. Like you are going to see this over and over again, right? You have people who believe in Islam and believe that they were. At the time, they believed that they were doing the right thing by helping the United States kill Muslims, and then all of a sudden they rethink things later. Guys, it's pretty straightforward. You are doomed, according to the Muslim sources, and there's one way out. So seems to make perfect sense to me. So yes, I would take that any day over a conspiracy theory, especially when the conspiracy theories are always really stupid. So what's the conspiracy? Oh, he worked for the CIA. Obviously, this was a CIA hit. Okay, so you just told me that the CIA are the biggest bunch of idiots on the planet. They said, hey, we really need to kill these guys for whatever reason. We need to kill these guys. So what are we going to do? We're going to get this guy who worked for us, because no one will be able to put that together 5 seconds later. I always had that problem when you're like if you're talking about the Jews and you're treating them like these supreme masterminds, but what's your evidence in here? Oh, this big piece of obvious evidence that they accidentally left there. So they're the masterminds who packed the World Trade Center with explosives, pulled all this off perfectly, but oopsie, we left a bunch of dancing guys across the river filming the entire thing because that was the only way they could verify. And so, okay, so you're saying they're complete idiots while being super genius masterminds, right? So the CIA, they're super genius masterminds. They've got their plot here. What do? Hey, let's take a guy who worked for the CIA and that anyone could look up in 5 seconds and see he worked for the CIA. They'll never accuse the CIA. They'll never know we did it. That's just stupid. That's just stupid. And so if I have a really stupid conspiracy theory versus something that makes perfect sense, I'll pretty much go with what makes perfect sense all the time. Again, could be more evidence that comes in later that completely changes everything and turns out to be some way better explanation. But, we decide what the best explanation is based on the evidence before us. Based on the evidence before me right now, there's an obvious explanation. There are other explanations that make sense, but I wouldn't consider them the best explanation. And then there are like stupid theories that I would consider dumb.
Based
I'm starting to get how the Inquisition people felt. No one knows how the Inquisition people felt. AP frozen with the glasses is the Turkinator.
Nice.
That's a good. Nice. That's good for you when you got the sunglasses on. Any updates or word on reputable ministries to support in Nigeria? No, I had when I had Amos on here last time, I asked him. I said, "Hey, why don't you tell us for next time we're doing something about Nigeria? Why don't you figure out what the best 2 or 3 places, what the best 2 or 3 like ministries or organizations are for people to support?" So that'll be coming up next time we talk about Nigeria. AP, would you rather David repeat his pre-prison stories on camera or spend Christmas time with Candace Owens? You have to
Candace
pick
Owens.
Breaking. AP wants to spend Christmas with Candace Owens.
It'll be very romantic.
He's Candace Owens' best friend now. Biggest supporter. They're going to be running around doing events together. Tim Pool called out Candace, called her a scammer.
Based.
Too bad. Candace is too big to fail now. Please return already, Lord. Yeah, something needs to happen. The best way to hurt Candace's name is sending her false tips to the tip line. I've seen people do that. Someone did it. Milk Bar made a video, and she got scared in the after show. Someone making false tips and her going, and I got a tip that says this. You can make a tip about anything, and she'll just read it on air as the latest. It's pretty weird. El Zut Meatpacking says, I forgive you, David. Before I got saved, I once paid to have a garbanzo bean on my chest. It's supposed to be on your head, and then it would be a zabiba.
Zabiba, Zabiba, I got a big Zabiba.
I have a new conspiracy theory. Al Zut are behind everything. Okay, maybe just Muhammad, but it's a banging theory, right? It's pretty good. That is the best conspiracy theory I've heard in a really long time. And this is not a comment. We have a super sticker. Thank you. All right, guys. So we got through that story. Everyone's up to date. We'll see what happens. Maybe this guy will cooperate, or maybe we'll make him cooperate and get some information. Again, always possible he got recruited by a terrorist organization. Always possible that something else happened, or he's paid by someone else, or he's an agent of something else, and so on. We'll see what new information comes in. Whatever happens with this guy, guys, it is a concern. You have a bunch of people who are now in Western nations who, if they think through what their religion teaches, will realize they are doomed on Judgment Day and going straight to hell for things they've done, and there is exactly one way out of that for them. This is a bad, bad situation. So hopefully we come up with some sort of brilliant plan here.
Yeah, I like to be genuinely nice to people, but the worst, I feel really bad and just want to point out that somebody is extremely stupid when somebody comes and says, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about," and the person seems to agree with Candace Owens, for example. And like when we criticize Candace Owens about her claims about the Macrons, I don't care about the Macrons, right? It's the conspiracy theories that she pushes that are the insanity. Brigitte Macron is not a man. She didn't become a woman and then kill somebody or and cover it up or anything like that. It's a completely nonsensical conspiracy theory. So when somebody comes and actually believes that kind of stuff and then actually wants to tell us that we don't know what we're talking about, I want to tell that person, I'm sorry, but you are really dumb. You're really dumb. You're really dumb. You really shouldn't be talking about any of this. And stop listening to Candace Owens. Don't do it. Do something better with your time. Watch the Kardashians.
Yeah, everyone who's Team Candace is going to end up looking all kinds of stupid. Found a hadith that can defend innocent people in Islamic lands and the West. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's someone who's making a covenant with the Muslim government for safety. Guess what? You would not be allowed to do certain things, but none of this is applying to something like the United States of America making mischief in Muslim lands and so on. So it doesn't apply to this current situation here. All right, AP, any final thoughts before I close out? Anything else?
See you all tomorrow.
Anything else?
See you all tomorrow.
Do you know what we're talking about?
No.
There you have it, folks. We have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. Neither do
We
you.
are clueless.
We're completely
Nobody
clueless.
knows what's going to happen tomorrow.
No one
Nobody
knows.
Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow.
No one knows.
Only God.
We'll see you then. Maybe. You don't know.
We don't know. We don't know that.
Catch you tomorrow.
Nobody knows.